Okay, so we've covered this episode before, but I found more stuff that I haven't talked about before. So yeah, let's dive back into the episode Karate Pals. The episode kicks off with the gal pals hanging out, with them each showing all of their different skills. Sandy shows karate, Pearl shows cheerleading, Karen cooks some holographic meatloaf, as we covered previously when we talked about this episode. And they're all having a good old time. You know, sometimes you just have to get the girlies together, it's just a vibe. But what's also a vibe is the really cool Easter egg at the very start of this episode. This Easter egg happens right as Sandy offers karate, and Karen pretty much rejects it, with her claiming that she's not built for combat.
My servos are not built for combat.
It's very, very easy to miss. And to be honest with you, this isn't the type of thing that you'd catch unless you were actually looking for Easter eggs. But if we look at Karen's screen during this scene, a schematic pops up on it. And if you zoom in, this labels her as Karen 1.0, which is a nerdy little acknowledgement that the show has literally done a next model storyline for Karen before. It's a reference to the episode Karen 2.0, where Plankton swaps the original Karen out for a replacement model. Karen leaves, winds up at the Krusty Krab, and the story eventually forces Plankton to face what he threw away. So yeah, a really cool Easter egg here that acknowledges Karen 2.0. Like, it's acknowledging that there is another version of Karen, and that this one right here, the one that's a part of the gal pals and is still cooking holographic meatloaf, this one is the original model. It's not that big of a deal, but it is some cool continuity. Also, you guys have been on my ass about how I pronounce continuity, so let me get it right 1 sec. So I've been saying continuity, but it's continuity. Continuity, there we go. I'll probably continue to say it wrong sometimes. Maybe I'll get a t-shirt with that on it. Continuity, there we go. Now I got it. But yeah, this whole thing with Karen 1.0 referencing Karen 2.0 is some good continuity. Did I get it right, guys? If so, I better get a freaking cookie or a Krabby Patty, bro. I feel like one of those would slap. What would also slap though is another freaking Easter egg, so let's talk about it. The next Easter egg or reference can be found once Sandy convinces everybody to commit to her karate lessons. As once they get into it, Sandy teaches karate wearing the same basic gi design from the episode Single Cell Defense. Back in that episode, Sandy trains Plankton after he gets sick of being stepped on, and during her training with Plankton, she wears a gi with a purple belt.
Your opponent's momentum can be used against them, no matter your size.
Well, years later in Karate Pals, not only does she wear the same outfit, but she's now depicted with a black belt instead. If we do a side-by-side, we can see there's some slight differences, but it's pretty much the same outfit. And yeah, now she's a black belt instead of a purple belt. So this is not only a good Easter egg, but it's also some really cool continuity. Belt systems vary by dojo, but common karate belt progressions usually place purple before black, with a black belt being like one of the top ranks. This is why it's really good continuity, as I guess Sandy has risen through the ranks since Single Cell Defense, going from a purple belt to a black belt. So yeah, don't mess with Sandy, bro, she'll kick your butt. I'm gonna move on to another Easter egg or reference, but I do wonder if this is going to continue. Like in future episodes, if Sandy dresses up in like a gi or a karate uniform, is she gonna have a black belt again? If so, that's really good stuff. I mean, this girl's been practicing karate since like season 1, so she might as well be a black belt by now. Now from here, Sandy's love of karate spreads on to all of the other gal pals, but they take it way too seriously. Karen in particular becomes obsessed with karate after the lesson, which actually helps Plankton at one point in the following scene. As when Karen arrives back home, she walks in on Plankton being chased inside the Chum Bucket in his lab by this nasty looking chum monster right here. Well, this is actually a reference, as the chum monster chasing Plankton looks like the same one from season 13's Chums. If we rewind back to that episode, we were introduced to the collective hive under Master, shortened to Chum. These monsters are a group of chum who were formed by mixing gas in the sewers. They were accidentally created by Plankton, and they look really gross.
Chum mixes with gases in sewer to form wee.
Well, in Karate Pals, I guess Plankton made another one because he's getting chased by it in this scene right here. He even requests Karen to put it back in its cage at one point, so maybe Plankton's been training them, who knows. But if we look at the one in this episode, Karate Pals, and the one from Chums side by side, we can see that it's like the same monster, so really good stuff by the writing team. Some really good continuity. I've got another Easter egg that I want to talk about in a second that's a really good one, but real quick, and don't worry to my regulars, I'm gonna shut up fast. fast. If you're new, guys, please subscribe. I'm one of the only non-AI SpongeBob channels on YouTube. Well, one of the only non-AI SpongeBob sleep channels. There's tons of SpongeBob channels that don't use AI on YouTube. But yeah, if you want to support somebody who uses absolutely no AI and puts way too much time into making videos about SpongeBob, please subscribe. But I'm gonna shut up now and let's talk about more Easter eggs. Now, after that quick scene at the Chum Bucket, the episode jumps to Sandy's tree dome, where Plankton calls requesting for Sandy's help as Karen starts going crazy and just redecorating Plankton's lab by punching and kicking holes throughout the entire place. Now, it's a really quick scene, but when it jumps to Sandy's tree dome and Sandy answers the phone, there's a very easy to miss Easter egg. Just as Sandy answers the phone, we can see a couple of ducks. And these are actually the same exact ones from the episode Salty Sponge. Back in Salty Sponge, there was a quick gag near the ending of the episode where a group of ducks tried to cross the road before they're almost run over by one of the biker fish, who quickly zips past. Well, I guess Sandy saved them, and maybe even adopted them, as the exact same ducks appear in Sandy's tree dome during that scene in Karate Pals. I may be missing some lore detail here. There might have been an episode where Sandy adopts them or something, or maybe there was a scene in Salty Sponge that I missed. But yeah, they're with Sandy now. And also, a nice little touch that I noticed, we can see that when they're trying to cross the road, they're wearing air helmets. I'm zooming in, you can see them right here. But in Karate Pals, because they're inside Sandy's tree dome, they don't need them, so just really cute. Them wearing air helmets isn't an Easter egg, but it's just a really cute touch. From here, Sandy heads over to the Chum Bucket to see what the heck is going on with Karen, who's doing some remodeling, punching holes throughout the place, as I mentioned. But this makes Sandy realize that maybe it isn't just Karen. Maybe Pearl and Mrs. Puff are also tweaking out as well, so she rushes over to Pearl, who's at one of her cheer meetings. Well, Sandy was right, and Pearl's just been beating the heck out of all of her different classmates and just other people on her cheer team. And in one scene, as Sandy runs towards Pearl, she sees a group of her classmates and members of the band team running away from Pearl. During the shot, a tuba is thrown out of nowhere and eventually hits somebody in the distance, this guy right here. This is a very quick scene, but if we pause just as the tuba is thrown, we can see a very rare character. This guy right here is Coach Cod. And yeah, unfortunately, he gets cooked by the tuba that was just yeeted at him. Dude, it literally causes an explosion, so I hope he's okay. Somebody needs to put Pearl in jail for this. She could have killed that guy. But yeah, this character is a major deep cut. He first appeared in a flashback scene in the episode Sing a Song of Patrick 15 years ago.
Roses are blue, violets are red. I have to go to the bathroom.
How many times I gotta tell you, this is gym class?
But then after that episode, the dude just completely disappeared for 11 straight seasons. But this changed in season 16, when he randomly got like 2 new random appearances. First in the episode Pigskin Pearl, in a quick scene where he talks to Pearl inside of a locker room. And then in this episode, Karate Pals. And here's a fun fact for you guys. It turns out that Karate Pals and Sing a Song of Patrick were both written by Luke Brookshire. So who knows, maybe this character may have been created by Luke himself, which is why the character has only really shown up when Luke is doing the writing. That's just a theory though, I don't know for sure. But nonetheless, it was cool to see the dude back. From here, after Pearl pretty much nearly murdered somebody, Sandy decides that she needs to undo the karate training. So her and SpongeBob try to fix the mess with a reverse karate matrix device, meant to erase the karate obsession. But they mess up and end up spreading the karate obsession across the whole town instead. And this is where we can find another reference. And honestly, this is another one that's very easy to miss unless you're paying attention to like the background, as SpongeBob and Sandy go into town to see if things have worked. And this is where they realize that they messed up, as we can see a variety of different Bikini Bottomites and just background characters doing karate. But if we look on top of this building right here, we can see Incidental 64 and another Incidental having quite the fight. And if we look at Incidental 64, they're wearing dark glasses and a trench coat, and they're dodging punches in slow motion. And I mean, if you were born before the year of like 2005, you already know what this reference is. This is a reference to the iconic film The Matrix. And if you look at Incidental 64, he's even doing like the iconic bullet time, like dodge where he leans backwards. I'm showing a side-by-side with the Matrix here as well. And yeah, it's very easy to miss, but it's an awesome reference to a really good movie, just saying. But yeah, this is a very messy situation. We've seen what Pearl was capable of with her obsession of karate, so who knows what all these other Bikini Bottomites are going to do. SpongeBob and Sandy have really messed up, but did they actually though? As Sandy stresses out, SpongeBob points out that while this wasn't the ideal plan, everyone is actually having fun. The episode then cuts to quick jump cuts of different incidentals and background characters practicing karate together and having honestly a great time. Now, during one of these shots, we can spot another rare character. But let me give you some context. If we rewind all the way back to the episode The Chaperone, and that episode, it's prom night. And though Pearl is forced to go to prom with SpongeBob since nobody else asked her, she truly wanted to go with somebody else, if you guys remember.
There's only one fish in the sea as long, tan, and handsome as he is, and that's him!
This introduced us to Octavius Rex, the popular kid at Pearl's school. Pearl mentions Octavius Rex as long, tan, and handsome, and then later he appears at the prom, alone, and eventually asks Pearl to dance, but she realizes he's lame and refuses. Now, Octavius Rex is a very rare character. He's appeared since The Chaperone, but usually with a different color scheme. But what's really cool about this appearance is that he's actually the right color. If we do a side-by-side with him in this episode, Karate Pals, and then his original appearance in The Chaperone, they finally used the correct color. So we can say for sure that this dude right here is Octavius Rex. And it's an awesome reference to one of my favorite episodes. The Chaperone is a really good SpongeBob episode. Also, just saying, let me know in the comments, how do you guys feel about these sections where I talk about rare characters? They're not necessarily Easter eggs, right? But they are still like a cool bit of trivia. So yeah, let me know if you guys actually enjoy these sections. Let me know in the comments. The episode The Krusty Bucket has a ton of really cool references, Easter eggs, and bits of trivia, so let's dive into it. I think you guys are really gonna like this one. At the start of this episode, Plankton sneaks into Mr. Krabs' house, hides in a cabinet, and steals one of Mr. Krabs' razors. As a matter of fact, Mr. Krabs even uses Plankton as a razor at one point by mistake. That did not look like a pleasant experience. Just imagine how nasty Mr. Krabs' chest hairs would be. Just like, oh my gosh. Anyways though, the point of all this for Plankton is that he wants to steal some of Mr. Krabs' DNA, but more on that in a moment. For now, let's go back to that washroom. And don't worry, we're not trying to get a peek at Mr. Krabs. We just want to look at this tube of toothpaste right here, as this is actually a direct nod to an earlier episode. This toothpaste brand is called Crust, and we've actually seen it before this, only once though, back in the episode Blackened Sponge. Back in that episode at the very start, SpongeBob is seen brushing his teeth before he falls and smacks his eye. He gets a nasty shiner. But yeah, if we zoom in on that toothpaste in Blackened Sponge, we can see it's also from the Crust brand. So the fact that the art team used this exact same brand, which had only appeared like once before this, was certainly intentional and is the type of Easter egg that I love. I love Easter eggs like this. And just saying this is for sure an Easter egg, it isn't like Kelpos, for example, where it's like a common in-world SpongeBob product that pops up often. For example, Kelpos appear in numerous episodes, whereas Crust has only appeared once before this. So yeah, them including it here was an Easter egg. I don't know why I over-explained that, but I gotta prove my point, you know what I mean, guys? I don't wanna ever be just spreading misinformation or making reaches. Also though, a fun fact here that is pretty obvious if you think about it, but the brand name Crust is definitely a spoof on the real-life toothpaste brand Crest. The logos and all that do not look similar, but it's definitely a spoof. Moving on though, as I said, the reason that Plankton wanted this DNA is for one of his new schemes. He takes the hair from the razor and mixes it together with his own DNA to create a combined clone known as Plain Crab. Once created, Plankton sends Plain Crab to the Krusty Krab to steal the formula. And while Plankton waits outside, he gets stepped on by a certain someone. Now, this certain somebody is actually a rare character. It's the character Colonel Carper, who first appeared back in the episode Hello, Bikini Bottom. Back in that episode, this character hears SpongeBob and Squidward perform and wants to manage them. But Mr. Krabs takes over after hearing about the money, of course, forcing Carper out. Now, after that first appearance, he disappeared from the show for like 8 plus years. He just was not in any other episodes. But then he randomly returned in this episode, the Krusty Bucket, giving us a little reunion. It's cool to see him back. And it's cool to see that the animators and art team, instead of just using a random incidental here, they chose to use a character we hadn't seen for a while. This was certainly intentional. Now, as I said, Plankton was waiting for Plain Crabs to get the secret formula, but instead he turns on everyone. He turns on Plankton and turns on Mr. Krabs and kicks out everybody except for SpongeBob, Squidward, and the customers, and pretty much just takes over the Krusty Krab. So Mr. Krabs and Plankton try to work together, even attempting to jump Plain Crabs at one point. Like, they literally wait in an alley and are about to just jump him with weapons.
Hey, what the fuck?
Dude, Mr. Krabs is wild for that one, and unfortunately it fails. And eventually, Plankton and Mr. Krabs turn on each other, getting into a fight inside the Krusty Krab that leads them into the Krusty Krab bathroom. And this is where we can find another Easter egg. During this section of the episode, Krabs and Plankton fight inside one of the stalls. And the rare character, Administrator Flotsam, can be seen in the stall right next to Plankton and Krabs.
Hey, I am trying to read!
This is another very rare SpongeBob character, and them being in the washroom is actually like a gag with the character. Administrator Flotsam has only appeared in 4 episodes before this, so he is very rare, but whenever he does appear, it's always for some reason in the Krusty Krab washroom. For example, in the episode The Ballad of Filthy Muck, he appears in this scene in the Krusty Krab bathroom, and this also happens in The Return of the Dirty Bubble, in this scene right here. I don't know why the dude is always in the Krusty Krab washroom. I don't know what he's doing in there, but he's in there in this episode, which is a reference to all of his past appearances. And again, this character is very rare, so seeing him pop up again was definitely intentional by the art team. Speaking of that washroom scene with Mr. Krabs and Plankton fighting and them interrupting the administrator's dump, poor guy. Imagine just trying to take a poop and then Mr. Krabs and Plankton are just fighting. But speaking of that scene, there was also a deleted scene planned for this section that got cut. In another stall, there was supposed to be a young boy who was also disturbed by the fighting while doing his business, with multiple objects like an anchor, a stray tire, and even a freaking television comedically being thrown in his stall. This ended up being cut from the final episode. And I mean, if you think about it, it was most likely due to it depicting a child character using the washroom. I mean, the kid is very clearly clothed in the storyboard, and the scene is in comedic taste, but yeah, I can understand why it was cut. But that is pretty much it for the Krusty Bucket. So let's head into another episode, but I just want to say thank you guys so much that we hit 10K subscribers. That's so rad. And it genuinely means so much to me, guys. I have a face reveal coming up this week, so stay tuned for that. Season 12 has some hit or miss episodes. Most of them are pretty good, and one of the good ones is Who Are Zoo, an episode where SpongeBob and Patrick create their own zoo made entirely out of bubbles. Pretty cool. I wish I could do that. This episode has 2 Easter eggs. Let's get right into it. Here's the first one. Keep those eyes peeled so it really makes sense. Now here's the thing for this one, if you got it, then you've watched a lot of SpongeBob, as it's a very specific reference that you'll only get if you watched the classic episode, The Thing. In this episode, Squidward gets covered in cement, and then everyone starts to think that he's some sort of creature. Of course, it's just Squidward covered in cement, but it gets so bad that the SWAT team comes in because of Patrick, and they take him to the zoo. More importantly though, they keep them in this new area known as the Species Unknown area, since they don't know what Squidward is. Well, this Species Unknown area, which only ever appeared in The Thing, can actually be seen in this episode in the background over here, which is an awesome reference. And this one is a clear reference. Like, the Species Unknown area, habitat area in the zoo has not been there since The Thing, so I love this one. Really cool reference. And there's another one that's really gonna warm your heart if you're an old school SpongeBob fan. Look at this.
Hello, folks. Please leave all your sharp objects at the gate. Okay, Grandpa, spread them.
Yeah, I love this one too. A pencil that resembles the magic pencil from the FrankenDoodle episode. You know, the episode with Doodle Bob. Here's a quick clip.
Aw, look at him. Ain't he a doll? Ready for action!
Quack! Quack!
And the episode Doodle Dimension. Here's another quick clip.
SpongeBob!
Patrick, I'm right here. Aw, isn't he cute?
Yeah, that pencil is among the many items seen in the live action close-up of Old Man Walker's box over here, which is awesome. I love FrankenDoodle. They need to bring Doodle Bob back again. Actually, wait, they did in season 14. I almost forgot. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's cover that episode. It has a really cool Easter egg in it. Now, I'm gonna get into the Easter eggs, but I really want you guys to take a look at some of these hilarious moments from this episode. It's a really good one, and then we'll get right into the Easter eggs.
Hey, my imagination box. I wonder if it still works. Oh boy, it's time for imagination.
Dude, season 14 so far has been pretty tight. I'm into it. You can see there's improvements being made. There's still some stinky episodes, but this one was a good one with lots of references. Here's the first one. You've probably seen some of them in the funny moments compilation we just did, but here are these awesome Easter eggs I was talking about.
Get off my sand! What's happening?
Inside my imagination box, Squidward must be lost.
Lost in his own imagination.
Imagination.
So this one's simple. Pretty much, this entire episode is a sequel to the iconic episode Idiot Box. I mean, as you guys just saw, SpongeBob even does his iconic imagination animation, which is really cool. Also, here's a really fun one right here. As we learn in this episode, Squidward's imagination is the most active out of everyone's, which is why he's able to re-energize the box. By the way, we learn in this episode that the magic-like box is powered by people's imagination, and Squidward's imagination is so powerful he can recharge the thing. And this seems to directly tie in with the original episode, as if you think about it, in the end, Squidward ended up having the most fun in the box, and then he's taken away by a garbage dump, you know, in the original episode. But Squidward has the most fun with it, so it makes sense that his imagination would be the strongest. I'm rambling. There's another reference in this episode. Roll the footage.
Finally, a place with culture.
So back in the episode Mind the Gap, we were introduced to the Jazz Club, all right? And what's really important here is I want you to take a look at all of the patrons inside of it from the original episode Mind the Gap. Take a look at everybody inside, as some of these exact same people appear multiple seasons later in Squidward Box when this episode returns to the Jazz Club. So really fun reference right here. Like, here's a side-by-side of some of the characters appearing. Love references like this. And let's keep it moving. We've got more Easter eggs coming up, baby, let's go. The episode Appointment TV has been covered many times on this channel, and that is due to it being full of Easter eggs. Like, seriously, there is a good 5 to 10 Easter eggs in this episode, but today we're just going to focus on one. Back in the season 3 episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 5, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, and Mermaid Man dress up as the IJSLA, and Sandy dresses up as Miss Appear and wears this costume. Well, she wears the exact same costume 8 seasons later in Appointment TV, thus making for an awesome callback or Easter egg.
He may be half a mermaid, and he may be half a man, but to us he's more than a hero. He's our mermaid man.
Back in the classic episode, Chocolate with Nuts, SpongeBob and Patrick struggle with their newly founded door-to-door chocolate bar business. That is, until they come across this Barnacle Chips billboard, which inspires them to be a little more business savvy. Well, it actually inspires them to start lying to people, but yeah, well, as crazy as it sounds, this billboard has popped up quite a few times over the years as an Easter egg, with its most recent appearance being in the episode Teacher's Pests. Don't get me wrong, this is totally a really cool Easter egg, but I do find it funny that it's just a simple billboard. Nonetheless, I love classic references like these, so I hope to see it again in the future.
Eat barnacle chips. They're delicious.
They are most certainly not delicious.
Not the way I use them.
In the episode Captain Pipsqueak, Plankton comes up with the ultimate plan to join the League of Evil so that he can take over the world and, of course, steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Well, in order to do this, Plankton has to do an addition, and during this scene, we see numerous villains from previous episodes show up for an addition as well. And boy, oh boy, does it make for an epic scene full of references. First up is Dennis from the first SpongeBob movie. Then there's this guy, a thug who steals the paddy wagon, also from the first movie. Dr. Negative, Squidward's villain counterpart from the episode Mermaid Pants, really good episode by the way. There's also Madame Hagfish, the Earworm, Robot Mantis, Nosferatu, Gordon the Viking, Dorsal Dan, and my favorites, the Strangler from the episode Tattletale Strangler, and Doodle Bob from the episode FrankenDoodle. That is like 12 to 13 references in one scene. Crazy.
Dude, sign in and wait your turn.
Get out of the car, fellas!
Take all your money and put it in the bag.
No, Mr. Bob, I expect you to fry.
When the full moon
I
rises.
am the Strangler. I'm the Strangler.
What is this?
To be or line?
Now, when we first mentioned this episode, I went over all of its cool references to past episodes, but I did leave one out, and this is due to it not being from a SpongeBob episode, but from a SpongeBob video game, and that's this blue little dude known as Prawn. Prawn made his first appearance in the SpongeBob video game, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. It's really cool to see Prawn make his way over to the actual TV show. I wonder though, does this mean that SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom is now canon? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm curious.
Did someone call? Oh, I thought maybe I was looking at superheroes. But now I see it's just a couple of pieces of gnarled driftwood.
What did Prawn do?
The worst thing you can imagine. He put all of Mermaid Man's white clothes in the washer with a red sock.
What is that yellow thing? Some kind of mold?
I'm not mold, I'm a sponge. There's a cellular difference.
In the episode Nasty Patty, another classic SpongeBob episode, this episode is a banger. SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs are confronted by a health inspector who wants to try everything on the menu to see if everything is up to the health code. This guy's name is Health Inspector Yellowtail Andy, and to be honest, we haven't seen him much since this episode. He has appeared a few other times, but he's usually a different color, but recently in the episode A Place for Pets in season 13, he made a big return, and he looks how he used to look, the way he looks in Nasty Patty. This was a really cool reference, and it's awesome to see such an iconic character return to the show, even though it was a fairly minor cameo. But anyways, here's a clip of both appearances with audio.
I'm going to need you to bring me one of everything on the menu.
Fresh sludge pudding.
More diet red tie.
Some fried
Please, gentlemen! Leave me to finish my work in peace.
Hold it right there, Krabs. Oh no! The health inspector! Oh yes, the health inspector!
In the iconic Season 2 episode Sailor Mouth, SpongeBob and Patrick learn some new spicy swear words from a dumpster outside of the Krusty Krab. Though they're told by Mr. Krabs not to use these bad words, they eventually ignore the old man and get themselves into some trouble. Well, Patrick gets SpongeBob into trouble when he goes to snitch on him. Before all of this happens though, we're given this iconic scene, like this scene is iconic, where SpongeBob and Patrick play a board game called Eels and Escalators, and it makes for a really funny scene. Well, 10 seasons later, in the episode Bubble Bass's Tab, I think it's a season 12 episode, this board game, Eels and Escalators, is referenced, with it appearing on SpongeBob's internal shelf of games.
Oh, the three deadly challenges! I got this game. Where is it? Game of Strife, Shoots and Bladders. Oh, here it is.
As you guys know, I'm a major fan of the Steven Hillenburg era of SpongeBob, so I loved this little nod. In the episode Wet Painters, SpongeBob and Patrick are tasked by Mr. Krabs to clean the inside, or well, paint the inside of Mr. Krabs' house, at the cost of their behinds if anything other than the wall gets painted on. Well, spoiler alert, something other than the wall does get painted on, and that's Mr. Krabs' iconic first ever $1. Now in the end, everything works out when we find out that the paint can just be removed with a little bit of saliva. Plot twist. But after this episode, Mr. Krabs' first dollar has kind of gone missing. We haven't really seen it since. That is, until the episode Bottle Burglars. As in this episode, the dollar is one of the objects that SpongeBob cleans on cleaning day. He actually ruins it. He like scrubs it so hard that it turns into a quarter and then a penny before it completely disappears. But don't worry, SpongeBob just replaces it with a random $1 bill from his pocket and Mr. Krabs never even notices. But talk about a cool Easter egg.
This paint actually comes off with saliva.
You told us the paint was permanent, so me and Patrick would be more careful and not get paint on anything.
Nah, I just like to mess with you.
Aw, Mr. Krabs' first dollar. How did it what?
Don't forget to clean the safe, boys.
In season 14, we got a really cool episode, Creepaway Camp, which technically was a crossover episode with Camp Coral, where SpongeBob and the rest of the gang get stalked by this mysterious figure while they attend a Camp Coral reunion.
It seems different somehow.
Looks like they changed the name to Caca.
It's especially cool because this episode really puts Camp Coral into the normal, like regular SpongeBob canon. It isn't just a random show now and is directly referenced in SpongeBob, regular SpongeBob. But anyways, this episode has a ton of Easter eggs and a ton of trivia, so let's get right into it. So to kick things off, take a look at this opening shot, and there's like 4 Easter eggs in this one shot. And I'm gonna tell you guys, you might not catch them right away as they're Camp Coral references technically, but it's still cool, and this is all the same SpongeBob universe. So, but yeah, I'm gonna play the clip and then I'll explain. Like I said, 4 Easter eggs in one shot. For one, we have Moe's possessed intertube. This was originally in the Camp Coral episode Boo Light Special. Here's a side-by-side. Sandy's helmet from Helter Shelter. The Squidward-shaped rock from the episode In Search of Camp Nudist. And Patrick's shelter from the episode Squishery. Like I said, those were Camp Coral references, so you might not have caught them, but if you're a fan of OG SpongeBob, you'll definitely catch this next one. Let's take a look and I'll explain afterwards. Okay, so let's pause for a second and let's rewind back to the episode One Krabs Trash. This is an iconic episode, and in this episode we were introduced to these things, owl clams. Remember these things as they pop up again in Creepaway Camp, making their first reappearance in like over 20 years. These things only ever appeared in the episode One Krabs Trash, and as you can see, they appear here, devouring the invitations, making for a really cool reference. And here's another Easter egg. This one is really, really cool. So as you guys seen, Mr. Krabs has a pet worm, but this isn't the first time we've seen him. This right here is Mr. Doodles. We've seen him for the first time like 18 years ago in the episodes Sandy's Rocket. Here's his appearance in that episode, and in the episode As Seen on TV. Here's also a shot of that. But he appears for his first time in a long time in Creepaway Camp, and he's very, very cute. I want a pet worm. Would you guys get a pet worm if you could? Let me know in the comments. But back to Easter eggs, and the producers of this episode really went all out. There are a ton of Easter eggs, and a lot of them are really like interesting and kind of obscure. For example, in this scene right here where Pearl gets laughed at by these girls. These girls aren't just any random characters. I'm gonna play this clip and they might seem familiar.
Hi, girls.
Hi, Pearl.
Are you guys coming to my totally coral birthday party tomorrow?
I don't know, Pearl. Is this gonna be as totally coral as last year?
Yeah, well, if we rewind back to the episode Whale of a Birthday, which we just did with the clips I just showed you, those same girls that laugh at Pearl in Creepaway Camp are her same friends from A Whale of a Birthday, which is another episode that's nearly 20 years old. Like, who thought of this? What cool attention to detail. And there's more. Take a look at this scene where all of the different cast members go on this bus to go back to Camp Coral. There's something in the background that is a reference to one of my favorite classic SpongeBob episodes. Roll the clip.
Suppose that makes sense.
Wait for me, dudes!
Did you guys catch it? So this sign right here, which reads, "You are now leaving Bikini Bottom," is actually from the episode Rock Bottom, and it's the exact same sign, which is really cool. Rock Bottom isn't even in this episode. It's just an awesome reference to that episode. And I've got even more. Take a look at this scene, which takes place at a party. There's a certain group of fish here in the crowd, and they're a reference to an older episode. Who remembers the nudist colony of fish from In Search of Camp Nudist?
Actually, I'm only partially nude. I like to think of myself as a bridge.
It's even stranger than I imagined.
Boy, fish sure look weird without clothes on, huh?
This is another Camp Coral reference, and this entire group of fish makes a cameo at the party right here. And here's a side-by-side. It's kind of cool seeing their 3D design and then seeing their 2D designs. Now, there's actually a bunch more in this episode, but I'm gonna save them for another video. But for now, let's head over to another episode, guys, with even more Easter eggs. You don't want to miss any of the Easter eggs I have coming up. So in the world of SpongeBob, it seems that everyone wants a pet snail, with them pretty much serving as dogs or cats. Heck, even Squidward gets one at one point. Remember Snelly? Well, one snail that is often forgotten is Mrs. Puff's pet snail, Annette. She made her first appearance in the season 3 special, The Sponge Who Could Fly, but sadly has not been seen much since. Well, this all changed in the season 12 episode, My Two Crabses. During this scene, we can see that Mrs. Puff has a picture of Annette in her house, thus making for a neat little reference. I do wonder though, what happened to the snail? Like, does Mrs. Puff still have her? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Our next Easter egg can be found in the season 13 episode Upturned Girls, an episode we've admittedly talked about a lot recently, but only because the episode is full of spicy Easter eggs. Now, the Easter egg in question has to do with this obscure SpongeBob villain, the Atomic Flounder. This supervillain was formerly an enemy of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and made his first appearance in the season 1 episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2, as an old retired version of himself that gets attacked by SpongeBob. Now, since season 1, the character has barely been seen, let alone mentioned. That is, until the episode Upturned Girls, as when Pearl and Narlene first arrive at Upturns, the exact same old retired version of the Atomic Flounder makes his first appearance in 20+ years, making for a really cool little reference.
If I weren't retired, I'd... Do that!
In the episode Bad Luck Bob, we're introduced to SpongeBob's lucky tie clip, this thing right here. And SpongeBob pretty much believes that this thing causes him to have good luck. In his mind, whenever he isn't wearing it, bad things happen to him. For example, at the start of the episode when he isn't wearing it, he slips out of bed, he gets crushed by his alarm, and even this happens. In the end, SpongeBob loses the clip and his life just falls to shambles, but as you guys can imagine, it's a cartoon and he ends up getting it back in the end. But more importantly, this episode has a bunch of Easter eggs, and let's get right into them. Here's the first one. I'm gonna play the clip and then I'll come back and explain it. You have to be a major nerd to catch this one. But if we go back to the old school episode Bubble Stand, a big plot point in that one is SpongeBob blowing bubbles, and he blows all sorts of bubbles. If you were paying close attention, one of those bubbles may have seemed familiar. In the original episode Bubble Stand, we see SpongeBob blow a duck bubble, this one right here, and a butterfly bubble. And in Bad Luck Bob, when SpongeBob snores, he blows something very similar. Here's a side-by-side of both, and I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think that this was a reference, in my opinion. And we've got more. Here's another one, and let's see if you guys can catch it. It's another callback to SpongeBob Season 1, and here's a hint, it has to do with blowing leaves. You may have caught it, but the reef blower, as previously seen in the classic episode Reef Blower from SpongeBob Season 1, returns for the first time in a while and is used again by SpongeBob. This was actually the reef blower's third appearance, and it also appeared in the SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water movie. But I'm going to be doing a video that's pretty much all about movie Easter eggs from SpongeBob, like specifically in the SpongeBob movies, so subscribe for that video in the future. But yeah, let's keep it moving. Here's another Easter egg. I'm going to play the clip and then I'll come back and explain it. Roll the footage.
My lucky tie clip is missing!
Now this isn't a one-to-one reference, and I might be reaching here, but if we go back to the episode The Chaperone, there's this clip where SpongeBob emerges from his toaster. It seems that this is referenced in Bad Luck Bob, but SpongeBob looks kinda different. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think that this is a reference, but I don't know. But here's a fun fact about the episode. Take a look at this clip where SpongeBob gets his feet run over by a truck.
A new freeway?
This is actually a reference to the 1961 Merry Melodies cartoon Beep Prepared, when Wile E. Coyote's feet are flattened while trying to trip the Roadrunner. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, that's a reference, pretty cool. We've heard Squidward jam out on his clarinet many times, and in the episode SquidBob Tentacle Plants, we hear him play a very specific tune.
Good morning, Squidward. And isn't it a lovely morning? Why are you playing the clarinet on your way to work?
Well, this song seems to be referenced 2 seasons later in the episode No Hat for Pat, as when Squidward plays the clarinet, he plays the exact same track he performed in SquidBob Tentacle Pants, thus making for a possible Easter egg. They might have just reused the same clarinet track, but it also could have been a reference. We don't know for sure. Now, I'm going to show more clips, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. Seriously. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, here's those clips.
Oh, that horrible noise! Let's get out of here!
Good morning, Squidward. And isn't it a lovely morning? Why are you playing the clarinet on your way to work?
Another cool Easter egg can be found in the episode Biddy Sitting. Well, to be honest with you guys, the entire second half of the episode is essentially an Easter egg, as it features 2 classic characters. In the episode Chocolate with Nuts, SpongeBob goes door to door with Patrick, lying to people about their magic chocolate bars, and eventually come across this dynamic duo, Incidental 87, aka Mary, and her mother. Well, Mary has shown up a few times over the years since her debut, but her mother has been absent ever since Chocolate with Nuts, that is, until a few years ago, as she plays a major role in the episode Biddy Sitting, and it is a major nostalgia trip. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Boating Buddies. In this episode, instead of the typical SpongeBob boating school episode, is all about Squidward attending boating school after getting a ticket. As you can imagine, this was all SpongeBob's fault, of course. But luckily for him, SpongeBob decides to help out, eventually leading us to this scene where Squidward does his driving exam. For a few frames, the rare incidental character Granny appears, thus making her first appearance since her debut episode Have You Seen This Snail? Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Potato Puff, but we need to go back for it to actually make any sense. Mrs. Puff, as always, is stressed out and defeated after yet another failed driving lesson with SpongeBob. So she decides to just give him a license anyways so that she doesn't have to deal with him anymore.
Mrs. Puff,
Thank you, SpongeBob. Congratulations. Have a nice life.
Now when she gets home, if you look on the wall, there's a portrait of the exact frame on screen. This is known as a recursive image, and it's actually referenced in the opening of the season 13 episode Potato Puff. As look, there's a portrait of the exact frame going on in the episode on Mrs. Puff's wall yet again. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Bottle Burglars, and it references the iconic season 2 episode FrankenDoodle. In this episode, SpongeBob and Squidward accidentally let Plankton slip away with the coveted Krabby Patty secret formula. So as you can imagine, the episode is primarily focused on the not-so-dynamic duo trying to retrieve it. Well, spoiler alert, they do, and the episode has a happy ending. But if we watch closely, when Squidward turns on the Krusty Krab security footage, a drawing of Doodle Bob can be seen on the bottom of the table, referencing both FrankenDoodle and Doodle Dimension. In the season 2 episode, Survival of the Idiots, SpongeBob and Patrick overhear a dream Sandy has about fighting two very popular Western criminals, Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry, and eventually take on both personas as they play cowboys and bandits.
All right, Pinhead, your time is up.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Now this eventually results in both Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan getting their butts absolutely handed to them. Like, they get their butts kicked and presumably killed, thus giving us these two gravestones with the names Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan on them. Well, these gravestones are referenced in the episode Shopping List, as both can be seen during this scene, thus making for a heartwarming little Easter egg for all of the longtime fans like myself. Okay, so let's talk about the season 16 episode Pardon My Wand, as this episode has a ton of Easter eggs and they're all really interesting. But first, let me give you guys a little bit of context, that way the Easter eggs actually make sense. But yeah, in this one, SpongeBob gets this magic wand right here, and I mean, just think about it for a second. This is the same dude that when he became hall monitor at school, started walking around thinking he was a cop causing car accidents. SpongeBob and having the ability of magic is kind of a bad mix. It's an entertaining mix, it makes for a really good episode, but you guys know that SpongeBob is about to cause freaking mayhem.
What if we just cure your hiccups instead? I'll get you some water.
Huh? That'll fix it.
Okay, now you guys know the premise of the episode and we can get into the Easter eggs. And this first one is a really good one. You do have to be a SpongeBob nerd to get it. I'm gonna play the clip and let's see if you guys can spot the Easter egg, and then I'll come back in and I'll explain it. Okay, so who remembers the episode Hocus Pocus? This episode is like nearly 20 years old. It came out in 2007 in season 4. And in this episode, we were introduced to this place, the 1942 Wizard Street. And we were also introduced to Mr. Magic.
But what if I told you that you could change all that with the magic of magic?
Yeah, this guy right here. Now, we haven't seen Mr. Magic or that castle I was just talking about since Hocus Pocus, so it's been like nearly 19 years. But randomly, somebody decided to include it in this new SpongeBob episode, Pardon My Wand, right here. But it's a little different now. It seems that it's been redesigned and rebranded as Mr. Magic's Magic Shop. Like, it actually has a name now, and it seems to be a magician's performance venue. Also, we don't see Mr. Magic in the episode, but he cameos on the sign right here. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, really cool. I'm gonna move on to another one, but I really want to highlight this one's really random. Hocus Pocus isn't some iconic episode. It's a great episode, but it isn't like Eels and Escalators, the board game from Sailor Mouth. It isn't like that appearing in a newer episode. This one means that whoever wrote this episode went back and they did their research. However, this next Easter egg is a reference to like an iconic episode, Tea at the Tree Dome, which was Sandy's first ever appearance back in the day.
So, what's your name?
Sandy. So, what do y'all call yourself? I'm SpongeBob!
Canonically, they've completely changed this now, especially with Camp Coral, as Sandy literally appears in Camp Coral, despite being seen literally meeting SpongeBob for the first time in Tea at the Tree Dome. But anyways, I want you guys to remember this orange bird right here that appears in this bird bath in Tea at the Tree Dome, as it's probably going to help you spot this next Easter egg. roll the clip.
We gotta handle this enchanted doohickey real delicate like.
Yeah, this cutie reappears in Pardon My Wand for the first time in a long time. But it's really cool to see this character that's really never appeared since Tea at the Tree Dome reappear in this episode. It's very clearly a deliberate reference, and I freaking love these. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Squirrel Jelly, but it revolves around the season 1 episode Jellyfish Hunter. This episode is pretty messed up, with Mr. Krabs sending SpongeBob to collect jellyfish jelly so he can sell it as a condiment at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs completely abuses the situation and creates a factory for the jellyfish. It's really sad. One of the characters we're introduced to in this episode is Friend, aka No Name, a larger jellyfish that SpongeBob has a bond with. Now, since Jellyfish Hunter, we haven't seen this character. However, in the episode Squirrel Jelly, near the end of the episode, Friend can be seen in the background, thus making for an awesome reference or callback to an iconic episode. So in the season 13 episode, There Will Be Grease, Plankton and Mr. Krabs are forced to work together after discovering a well of miracle grease under their restaurants. They both have their own intentions with the grease. Mr. Krabs wants to use it to improve the Krusty Krab menu, while one of Plankton's uses would be to use the grease as lube for killer robots. And if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll notice that the robot shown in the thought bubble is Plankton's tank robot, the exact same one that appeared in the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. Talk about a cool callback. Let's talk about the episode Unreal Estate next. It's from season 10. In this one, Squidward tricks SpongeBob into thinking his pineapple house is dangerous to live in, hoping SpongeBob will move away. Well, as SpongeBob daydreams about new homes, the episode pays homage to SpongeBob's history in many subtle ways. Right from the title card, Unreal Estate telegraphs a hidden gag, with its background art being pretty much the same as another episode's background art, Sentimental Sponge. Both cards share a bold, colorful geometric pattern. The only difference is the color, with it being pink in Unreal Estate and yellow or orange in Sentimental Sponge. And while it's possible that they may have just reused the asset, SpongeBob writers and producers and artists in the past have done this, where they use a similar piece of art in the title card to pay homage to an older episode. I am rambling though, and this one definitely sounds like a little bit of a reach, but let's head over to more interesting Easter eggs. Our next Easter egg can be found in the season 13 episode Upturned Girls. I know we've covered it a lot recently, but this Easter egg is really cool and new, but it is a little complicated, so pay attention. In the episode Squeaky Boots, it's Pearl's birthday, so we learn about flipper slippers, new shoes that are a bit of a fad amongst teenagers and seem to be especially popular with young girls. Pearl wanted these for her birthday. She doesn't get them, but all of her friends wear them, and we know that Pearl really likes these and really likes shoes. Well, it seems that these shoes are referenced in the episode Upturned Girls, as when Pearl and Narlene enter the shoe area, there is a poster on the wall for what seems to be new, updated, or evolved versions of the shoes. I know this for sure because at one angle, we can see at the bottom that the shoes are by Flipper, and like I said, the shoes that they're referencing are called flipper slippers.
Don't forget my new flipper slippers, Daddy.
Definitely a really cool Easter egg here. Whoever wrote this episode, this is a really cool one. The episode, 20,000 Patties Under the Sea, has an Easter egg in its title. For those who may not know, the title is a reference to a Julie Verne novel, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's not the only Easter egg present in this episode, though. The con man from the episode Chocolate with Nuts is back again, and he cons SpongeBob and Patrick once more. Now, after he cons SpongeBob and Patrick, he says, "Hey, thanks again, guys." This means he remembers the characters from the last time he conned them. Another cool thing you may not have known about this episode is that Gene Simmons from the band Kiss plays the sea monster in the episode. Pretty cool. Our next set of Easter eggs, or well, Easter egg, there's only one, can be found in the episode Biscuit Ballyho. In this one, Sandy's Science Scouts, these characters right here, try to raise money for a trip to Mars by selling these biscuit boxes around town. Well, Mr. Krabs, being a greedy crab, decides to get in on the action himself, stealing Sandy's idea.
Krusty Doodles. These are just stale Krabby Patty buns.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs sucks, and this whole thing leads to like a town-wide war with both troops fighting to get sales. It's a fun, wild episode that I definitely recommend, but we're not here for that, we're here for Easter eggs, and there's one I want to talk about. I'm gonna roll the clip and then I'll explain it after. Roll the footage.
All right, Science Scouts, listen up. This here business is serious as a rattlesnake bite. So let's make sure we don't mess it up. If we earn enough money, we can finally afford that trip to Mars!
This is a very obscure reference, but some of the writing that Sandy uses in her blackboard in the beginning of the episode are references to one of my favorite episodes, SpongeBob in Random Land. Particularly this K equals AZ equation and 1220, which is the exact production code for the episode SpongeBob in Random Land, which is how we know for sure that this is a reference. And let's keep it rolling. I've got another episode coming up after this with more Easter eggs. Superstition. And this is a season 16 episode. In this one, Friday the 13th comes to Bikini Bottom. And as you guys know, Friday the 13th is the day where everybody is supposed to get bad luck. It's a superstition, and Mr. Krabs is terrified of this.
Oh, no, 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 no! An indoor whistle brings luck's dismissal!
Yeah, Mr. Krabs needs to take a chill pill. Like, this guy is just, he's too much sometimes. Like, imagine Mr. Krabs being your boss. Not only do you have to deal with this type of nonsense, but also, this dude barely even pays SpongeBob, and as we've seen in previous episodes, SpongeBob barely gets any time off of work. This episode just came out, so I don't want to spoil it, so let's get right into the Easter egg. I'm gonna play the clip, and let's see if you guys can find it.
Ahoy, Mr. Krabs! Your morning cup of tea coming right up.
I imagine that a lot of you guys missed it, so let me explain, right? You know how it was going on before about Mr. Krabs being a lame boss? Well, if we rewind all the way back to the episode Stuck on the Roof, despite being a terrible boss over the years, we see that Mr. Krabs has this #1 boss mug right here. This thing right here, I'm highlighting it. But yeah, it's been quite some time since we've seen this mug. It only appeared in this episode Stuck on the Roof, which is a season 11 episode, so it's pretty old by now. However, the mug randomly appeared in the form of an Easter egg in this episode we're talking about, Superstition. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, that's a really cool Easter egg. Also, it kind of shows you how long it's been since season 11. We used to refer to SpongeBob season 11 as modern SpongeBob, but it's 10 years old now. So if you really think about it, these episodes like Stuck on the Roof are starting to become quote-unquote classics, but yeah. Next up is the episode Upward from SpongeBob season 15. This episode's all about Lady Upturn, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys noticed, but around like season 10 or season 11, Lady Upturn became like a regular occurring side character within the show. Like, she appears just as much as like Larry the lobster, if you think about it. But yeah, in this episode, Squidward and Lady Upturn actually become like besties. They become really good friends.
Regigild, pay the man.
You can't just buy the soul of a raw talent like myself. Maybe you just bought yourself an artist.
And remember, Lady Upturn is like a rich lady. She's like a Karen pretty much, but a rich Karen, and all of her friends are snobby. And a big plot point in this episode is her introducing Squidward to all of her friends. It actually makes for a really good episode because if you think about it, Squidward and Lady Upturn are kind of similar. So, you know, but yeah, here's some clips of this. It's really funny, and then we're gonna get right into what you clicked on the video for.
Oh my, it's incredible. But where are you going to live?
The mansion is mine. I cannot wait to show you off to my wealthy, taste-making friends. So you better get writing.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I said, it's a really good episode, and it's cool to see somebody actually supporting Squidward's dreams of being a musician for once. You know, everybody else just takes a big poop on his clarinet playing, but Lady Upturn actually invests money in Squidward. But anyways, let's get into what you guys actually clicked on this video for, and that's for some SpongeBob Easter eggs. Here's the first one, and here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna play the Easter egg, and then I'll come back in and explain it for you guys, okay? Let's do it.
Lady Upturn!
Upturn! Always a delight to have you back at our gallery.
What do you have that's new and interesting? Ick!
Alright, so let me explain. When it comes to cartoons like SpongeBob or any other like Saturday morning kids cartoon, there's always going to be certain locations introduced that don't pop up in every episode. So for SpongeBob, it would be like Glove World. If you're a SpongeBob nerd like me, you know that Glove World is like, SpongeBob's favorite place, and it'll pop up every couple of seasons. Well, something similar happens in this episode. But for it to make sense, we have to rewind back to 2 older episodes. The first one being the episode The Masterpiece, and the other episode being Squidward's School for Grown-Ups. In the episode The Masterpiece, we were introduced to the Art Museum, this place right here. And guess what? It actually popped up again in Upward during this scene right here. That's a really cool reference. If we head back over to Squidward's School for Grown-Ups, back in that episode, we were introduced to the famed Bikini Bottom Opera House, this place right here. And guess what? This place also pops up again in Upward during this scene right here. When it comes to SpongeBob Easter eggs, they usually reference the most common SpongeBob stuff, but it's really cool when they reference like lesser known episodes like Squidward's School for Grown-Ups. That's like an old episode, dude. And we're not done yet. I've got more Easter eggs. Let's keep it going. Here's another one. I'm gonna play a clip with the Easter egg and then I'll come back in and explain. Let's do it. Now this one is really, really funny. So if we go back to the episode Band Geeks, an iconic episode, there's this iconic scene with Patrick. Roll the clip.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Yeah, well, that's referenced in Upward. As if you look at the Opera House, Patrick is literally playing mayonnaise as an instrument. So take that, Squidward. If you remember, Squidward said that mayonnaise is not an instrument, but I guess it is, right, Patrick? Damn. Okay, here's another one, and you have to be a major nerd to get it, okay? It references the episode Squid Noir. Roll the clip.
Lady Upturn, there's a jellyfish blocking your ears.
Is that what he really sounds like?
Okay, so if you guys remember back in the episode Squid Noir, I believe it's from season 11, there's like a reoccurring joke. It especially happens at the end of the episode where the jellyfish, the ones that always pop up throughout SpongeBob, are seen enjoying Squidward's clarinet playing. Most people usually hate it, as you guys know, but the jellyfish love it, bro. I mean, at least in modern SpongeBob. Back in the day, they didn't. But yeah, as you've seen in the clip I just played from Upward, the jellyfish are seen enjoying Squidward's bad clarinet playing again, which is totally a reference. And here's another one, though it technically isn't really a reference, but it's still really cool and I have to mention it. So who remembers the character Squilliam Fancy Son? Squidward's like arch nemesis, this guy?
Sounds as though you've got a dying animal to attend to, old chum.
Squilliam Fancy Son?
Yeah, that guy. He's one of my favorite characters. I love Squilliam, and I really hope that Squidward gets his revenge on him one day. He did get a little revenge back in Band Geeks, with the whole Bubble Bowl situation. Like, he did get the W there, but since then, he hasn't really gotten his comeuppance yet, so hopefully that happens soon. But anyways, the last time we seen him was in the episode Code Yellow. Like I said, this was 7 years ago, back in season 10. Well, the show's producers must have caught on to this because, look. No! And just saying, he actually appears again in the next season, season 16, so stay tuned as I'm gonna make a video on that in the future. I'm gonna move on to another new SpongeBob episode in a moment, but I've got a couple more little Easter eggs and facts for you guys from this one that are really cool. Throughout the episode, Squidward wears numerous different outfits, and all of them are different references to other celebrities and cultural icons. While angrily swatting away his sheet music, he resembles Andy Warhol. Here's a side-by-side right here. Or while shopping for a golden clarinet, he resembles Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart from the 1984 film Amadeus. Another example is when he invites SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs to his debut concert, as he resembles composer Liberace, even wearing his signature King Neptune outfit. And in his last outfit, the one he wears while performing at the famed Bikini Bottom Opera House, he resembles the legendary Elton John, more specifically from his 1975 performance at the Dodger Stadium. And of course, here's another side-by-side. Really cool stuff, and now we can finally move on to another episode. Let's do it. Something absolutely terrible happens in the season 4 episode, All That Glitters. SpongeBob breaks his favorite spatula, and as you can imagine, this really ruins SpongeBob's day. Don't worry though, at the very end of the episode, we get this hilarious scene of SpongeBob being reunited with his old friend, and the episode ends with everything back to normal. Now the Easter egg in question can be found during this scene, and has to do with everyone's favorite incidental, Fred. If you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll know that this isn't the first time we've seen Fred in this outfit, as it's actually a reference to the outfit he wears in the classic Season 3 episode, One Crab's Trash. In the Season 16 episode, Exchange Student Driver, Mrs. Puff finally finds a clever, well, kind of extreme solution to get a break from SpongeBob's never-ending boating school failures. She decides to enroll him in a foreign exchange program and ships him off to a distant driving school in Klopnod. If you've heard of Klopnod before, it's because this is actually like kind of a reference. If we go back to the Patrick Star Show episode, Klopnodian Heritage Festival, we were introduced to this whole culture.
I'm so happy to be sharing my Klopnodian culture with my family.
According to this pamphlet, Klopnod is the silliest place in the ocean.
So it's cool that that was referenced here. This is another example of them, you know, expanding the universe and connecting the spin-offs to the main show. This location has appeared tons of times in the Patrick Star Show, but this was the first time it ever appeared in SpongeBob. And it kind of makes it now like 100% a canon location. But let's move on. So I guess this next one is less of an Easter egg and more of a theory. In the episode Food Con Castaways, SpongeBob and the gang find themselves lost in a random forest. Now throughout the episode, the forest isn't given an actual name, but a lot of people online speculate that this could be Kelp Forest, the same forest from the iconic Season 3 episode Club SpongeBob. We don't know for sure, but if you need some more proof, it seems the title card for Food Con Castaways is taken from a background scene of Club SpongeBob. One of my favorite SpongeBob episodes is Season 3's Just One Bite. In this episode, Squidward tastes his very first Krabby Patty, and though he lies and claims to hate them at first, by the end of the episode, we find out the truth. SpongeBob reveals that there is a patty vault hidden in the Krusty Krab that contains hundreds of Krabby Patties, and in the ending scene, we see Squidward break into this place to get his fix. Now aside from this episode, we haven't really seen the patty vault since. However, it does appear in the episode Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 6 in the form of an Easter egg. It's only on screen for a short amount of time, but it can be found during this scene. One of my favorite SpongeBob episodes is Season 1's Bubble Stand, where SpongeBob and Patrick do their best to introduce Squidward to blowing bubbles. Squidward really struggles at first, and boy is it hilarious to watch. But the episode's best moment, in my opinion, is when SpongeBob rotates his body to demonstrate and repeats the sentence, "Bring it around town." I mean, come on, if you're a longtime fan, then you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. It's iconic. Well, in the opening of the episode Mimic Madness, this iconic scene is referenced, thus making for a really cool Easter egg. SpongeBob does the exact same thing and even says, "Bring it around town."
Whoa, you tell him, Mr. Krabs! Bring it around town! Yeah!
The next Easter egg on this list comes from the episode Picture Day. In this episode, SpongeBob is trying his best to look good for his boating school picture. However, things aren't really going in the poor guy's favor. At the end of the episode, we see the picture that ends up being taken, but you may be wondering why all the other pictures are, well, humans and not fish or SpongeBob characters. Well, that's because what you're looking at is actually the creator of SpongeBob, Stephen Hillenburg's yearbook, and Stephen Hillenburg's picture is replaced with SpongeBob's. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode The Ballad of Filthy Muck. This episode is all about Patrick going out of his way to become the most grossest and stinkiest person in all of Bikini Bottom. But more importantly, the episode also has a really cool Easter egg. If you look closely, during this scene, an ice cream sign at Glove World says glove flavor. And though this might seem like nothing, it's actually a reference to the candy glove flavor that SpongeBob literally ate in the iconic episode Rock Bottom at the location of the same name.
Ew, glove flavored.
Our next Easter egg can be found in the Season 12 episode The Nitwitting. There are actually a few found in this episode, so let's just get right into them. As SpongeBob mobily walks through this alley, there are a bunch of references to older episodes. My favorite of the bunch is this graffiti drawing of Doodle Bob referencing the iconic season 2 episode FrankenDoodle. More importantly though, is this graffiti reading Squidward smells, as this is a reference to one of my personal favorite SpongeBob episodes, Sailor Mouth. There are a few other small references, but these two are definitely the best of the best. Leave a comment down below letting me know any that I missed. Here's one that you guys probably weren't expecting, but in the new SpongeBob movie, the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants, if we look at one of the promotional posters, we can see that SpongeBob and Patrick are mimicking the exact pose that Jack and Rose make in James Cameron's 1997 film Titanic. Similarly, said poster's tagline, "Near, far, wherever pirates are," is a parody of the line, "Near, far, wherever you are," from the song My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, which was the main theme of Titanic. Hopefully we'll have more Easter eggs from this one once it comes out. All right, let's head over to Tango Tangle. It's all about Plankton and Karen taking dance classes, and they actually are kind of good, they kind of slap, but I mean, come on, we're here for Easter eggs.
Love the new stems, Plankton. Whoa.
This one is really cool. So who remembers the episode I Heart Dancing? Yeah, well, who remembers the outfit that SpongeBob wears in this episode? This outfit right here. Look at my boy. I want to get one of those outfits for myself. Now, as you guys just saw in the clips we showed you in Tango Tangle, this exact costume is referenced. Here's the next Easter egg from the same episode.
Oh, yes. Yeehaw!
It did not go well.
In the last scene of that montage, Plankton is actually wearing the same zipper helmet from the iconic episode The Algae's Always Greener. Really, really cool. And believe it or not, I still got another Easter egg from the same episode. Alright, so last one from Tango Tangle, and then we're heading over to another episode. Anyways, this one is really special. So back in the episode Artist Unknown, Squidward over here teaches an art class, alright? It doesn't go as planned, but the art classes take place at this place right here, the Adult Learning Center. Now, we haven't seen this location for years, literally since Artist Unknown, so over 20 years. But look, in Tango Tangle, it briefly can be seen in this shot right here, making for a heartwarming, nostalgic Easter egg. Really cool, and we've got plenty more like this coming up, so let's head over to our next episode. First up is the season 12 episode, The Hankering, which has two really cool Easter eggs, especially if you're a big SpongeBob fan, especially if you're a fan of the older seasons. Here's the first one, and here's a little hint. This one has to do with the SpongeBob movie, the original one. Roll the footage.
Sal, I'm feeling hungry tonight. How's about another plate of chum?
That was my last plate of chum ever! I'm moving to Shell City to make it big in the pictures.
Did you guys catch it? Well, alright, Shell City, which is a location from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, is actually mentioned by Sal when he says that he moved there to become a movie star, which is really cool because the SpongeBob SquarePants movie is back in 2004, and this is a season 12 episode. So it's awesome that the current writer still will pay homage to the older seasons and movies. And here's another Easter egg from the same episode.
Oh, come on, there's gotta be some chum in here somewhere.
Hello?
I, lost my shoe. See, found it. Okay, bye.
Now, I'm not 100% sure about this one, alright? But the shoe that Mr. Krabs digs out of the trash seems to resemble the one that Gary wears in the iconic classic episode, Your Shoes Untied. Here's a side-by-side. On the left, we got the one that Mr. Krabs digs out in the hankering, and here's what it's referencing on the other side. Really cool reference. I love Easter eggs. And guys, we've got crazier Easter eggs coming up, so let's head over to another episode. Next up, we've got Blood is Thicker Than Grease, which only has one Easter egg, but it's really, really cool. Roll that clip, guys, and here's a hint. It has to do with Plankton's family.
There's room for the whole Plankton clan!
Hello.
Like I said, I really like this one. So back in Plankton's army, Plankton decides that he needs to team up with his family to take down Mr. Krabs. And before he actually meets them and eventually realizes that they're a bunch of rednecks, there's this scene where he imagines what they could look like. We get all sorts of different designs of Plankton's imaginary ancestors. And guess what? In Blood is Thicker Than Grease, during the scene we already showed you guys, look, several of Plankton's family members that he imagined appear in this scene. Plankton has an interesting imagination. But yeah, really cool Easter egg, guys, and let's keep it rolling to another episode. Next up, we've got the episode Chum Bucket List. And in this episode, there's the World of Friendship song. Now, throughout this song, there are a ton of Easter eggs. I'm gonna play a couple clips from the song, and then we'll start breaking down all of them. Try and see if you guys can spot any of the Easter eggs before I actually reveal them. Really cool. So during this shot right here of SpongeBob and Patrick's designs were actually storyboarded to channel the style of the first ever episode of SpongeBob. So they were actually drawn in a way where they look like season 1 versions of them. And we've got another one from this episode that happens after the song or after the montage. Roll the footage. Friendship. Did you guys catch it? So after the song, this explosion is played, and it might seem familiar because it's actually a reference to 3 older episodes. This exact same explosion clip was shown in Dying for Pie. It was then also used in The Krusty Plate, Frozen Face Off, and Neptune's Ball. And we still ain't done yet, gang. We've got more Easter eggs. Let's head over to another episode. Coming in hot is the episode Pet the Rock, and this episode has so many Easter eggs. I don't know if we're gonna be able to cover all of them, but we're gonna cover as much as we can.
We can stop at the pet store on the way. Do any of these pets pique your fancy?
This one's really cool. So first things first, this worm right here seems to be a reference to Wormy. This crab right here, though, is 100% an Easter egg, as it's the exact same one from the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. If we look right here, we can see sea chimps from the episode King Plankton. If we jump over here, we can see the sea whelks, referencing the episode Whelk Attack. If we pop over here, we can see Mrs. Puff's peanut worms from the episode Growth Sprout. There's also the earworm over here from the episode of the same name, Earworm. We can't forget about the sea bunnies over here from Bunny Hunt. And of course, we've got Pluffy or Puffy Fluffy, the cute thing that eventually tries to eat Gary from the episode A Pal for Gary. Crazy, dude. That's like 6 in 1 scene. Wild. The season 10 episode, SpongeBob's Place, has a good plot, but I think the biggest thing this episode is known for is all of the wild Easter eggs. Now, I'm not going to cover this scene, which has like 8+ Easter eggs all in one shot, like holy cow, as we've covered it quite a few times already, but I did find another one, and it's spicy.
Hey! I see the problem! SpongeBob's not in the kitchen!
Remember the nasty patty that SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs prepared in the season 3 episode of the same name? Yeah, well, it appears again for the first time in a long time during this scene. There are some slight differences, but this was definitely a throwback to season 3, and I absolutely adore it.
Oops, I dropped it in the toilet.
Well, fish it out, and I'll dry it with me gym socks.
Squidward has referenced his groovy moves a few times, but the most notable reference, in my opinion, was in the episode Pat Heart Squid, as when Squidward tries dancing to attract people, at one point, his moves are precisely what he does in Culture Shock. And guess what? In response, the audience throws tomatoes at him, just like they did in that episode. Poor Squidward. Next up is Squid Defense, and this one has a really weird Easter egg. Before we get into that though, I want you to take a look at some of these funny moments of Squidward learning karate. It's hilarious. We're gonna get right into the Easter egg afterwards, so stay tuned.
It is me, a big scary miscreant.
Take this! Think that's gonna stop me?
Okay, it's Easter egg time, baby. Roll the footage. This one's very obscure.
Come on, Squiddy, give it the old roundhouse.
All right. Hi-ya!
So this right here is the Slug Buddy punching bag, all right? It might seem like an insignificant background object or something like that. It first appeared back in the episode The Great Snail Race. In this clip right here, take a look.
Come on, Gary, move it! Up, 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 down, 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 down! Faster, faster, faster! Go, go, go!
It then appeared later on in the episode The Way of the Sponge when SpongeBob is trying to get his black belt. Take a look at this clip. And this is where the Easter egg comes in, as it just randomly appears in Squid Defense in this scene. I already showed you guys the scene, but there it is, the Slug Buddy punching bag right there. Really cool that it reappeared again randomly in this scene. They could have used any punching bag, but I don't think it's a coincidence that they used this one with this design. It's 100% a callback. When Patrick's mother, Bunny, leaves the Star family home for a week in the episode Cleanin' House, she leaves to claim an inheritance in Clopnod, the location we were talking about earlier. And when she does this, chaos quickly erupts in her absence. Each member of the household is tasked with cleaning a different part of the now filthy house before their mom gets home. And it makes for a good plot, but I know what you guys are actually here for, and it's the Easter eggs, as there are a bunch of visual references and nods to SpongeBob's lore in this episode. Here's the first one, roll the clip. So as you can see right here, I'm looping it, but Patrick can be seen eating a chocolate bar. But this isn't just any old chocolate bar, guys. Take a look at it and then take a look at this scene and it might seem a little familiar.
Did you say chocolate?
Yes, sir. With or without nuts?
Yeah, that's right, guys. The chocolate that Patrick's eating at the start of this episode is the same chocolate bar from Chocolate with Nuts. Here's a side-by-side. And dude, now I'm hungry. Deep fried crabs today. This chocolate bar. I'm gonna go get some food after this. But yeah, really cool reference, guys. And here's another one. Roll the clip. Alright, so let me explain. As you can see, there are 3 disgusting cockroaches right here, and they may seem a little bit familiar to you guys, as their design resembles the one that we seen back in the episode, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 4. Okay, and here's one more from this episode, and you all should right away get this reference. Roll the clip.
She says she's coming back home.
Home? We gotta get the place clean before Bunny gets back.
I ain't doing any cleaning.
We'll start with your filthy mouth, Dad.
Now listen, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and no matter what, Cartoon Corey loves ya and respects ya, but if you did not catch that Easter egg, you're kind of a fake SpongeBob fan, as you guys just heard, dolphin chirps were used as replacements for curse words, which is a direct reference to the iconic episode Sailor Mouth. In the episode Near Mint Plankton, Plankton concocts a new scheme by shrinking down and disguising himself as a collectible figurine. And why? You guys know why. He wants to snag one of those delicious Krabby Patties without Mr. Krabs noticing. Very clever, Plankton. Instead though, he ends up in the clutches of Bubble Bass, who is an avid collector of limited edition superhero memorabilia. This guy is obsessed. And we're gonna get into the Easter eggs, but I gotta say, I do like how they changed Bubble Bass's character over the years. Originally, he was just this rude dude who liked pickles, but they've kind of turned him into the nerdy character who's obsessed with nerd stuff. Anyways though, this episode's premise naturally sets the stage for a literal treasure trove of different SpongeBob nostalgia and Easter eggs. For example, when Mr. Krabs cashes in on the collector craze by selling special edition Krabby Patties, the varieties on offer are a delightful deep cut from the season 9 episode Munity on the Krusty. In that earlier episode, it's actually really old now, from like 2015 I think, but in this episode, SpongeBob introduced novelty patties like the Hattie Patty, a Krabby Patty that you wear as a hat. There's also the Chatty Patty, a talking patty for teens, and the Bratty Patty, a kitty patty with a backwards baseball cap.
And he's the man who brought you the double Krabby Patty, and the Krabby Patty with cheese, and the Bratty Patty for kids.
This Patty's stealing my style. I'm the only one who's allowed to wear a backwards baseball cap, guys. Come on. Surely enough though, Near Mint Plankton shows Bubble Bass proudly adding a new Pickle Patty addition to his collection, right alongside his Chatty, Hattie, and Bratty Patties, the very same whimsical burgers first seen during Munity on the Krusty. This is a clever callback that rewards eagle-eyed fans, and even Bubble Bass's line, "I'll place it next to my Chatty, Fatty, and Bratty Patties," directly references those legendary novelties. It's not like they just showed them, he literally refers to them by name, so we know this is an Easter egg. But let's keep it moving, as Bubble Bass's basement itself is a shrine to SpongeBob lore. Viewers can spot a statue of SpongeBob dressed as a certain superhero. Take a look at this clip from the episode Mermaid Man in Barnacle Boy 5, more specifically the superhero that SpongeBob turns into. This guy right here is the Quickster, and we haven't really seen him since Mermaid Man in Barnacle Boy 5. We've seen some of the other superheroes in this episode. For example, in Mermaid Man in Barnacle Boy 5, Sandy dresses up as Miss Appear, another superhero that can turn invisible. But we've actually seen Miss Appear a couple of times since then. For example, in the episode Delivery of Doom, or in the episode Appointment TV, as you can see here. But the Quickster, we haven't seen this character for a long time, but that all changed in Near Mint Plankton, as look, amongst Bubble Bass's collectibles, there's this statue of SpongeBob dressed up as the Quickster. This blink and you'll miss it background gag firmly anchors the episode in SpongeBob's wider universe. And who knows, maybe we'll see the Quickster again in the future. I would love to see another episode where they all dress up as superheroes, but I've got more, and the Easter eggs are gonna get even crazier as we go. That way, if you guys are still awake, you haven't fallen asleep yet, at least I can keep you guys entertained. But you should be asleep already, bro. What are you doing? You got work or school tomorrow. Go to sleep. I love you. I'm trying to support you here. But anyways, here's the next episode. SpongeBob Season 5 isn't a bad season, but it definitely isn't the best. However, there is one Season 5 episode that I actually really enjoyed, and that's the Donut of Shame. This episode is very short. I think it's only like 4 or 5 minutes, but it's sweet and features a hilarious plot where Patrick panics due to accidentally eating SpongeBob's donut after a late night of partying. Well, this episode is referenced in the Season 9 episode, The Executive Treatment. It happens very fast, but during this scene, Patrick begins to freak out about the donut before, well, being insulted by Squidward. This one you kind of have to hear it for it to really make sense, so I'm going to show a clip.
But I've never wanted anything so much in my whole life! Since this morning when I wanted a donut and I ate that donut, and it was great!
A lot of that donut is still on your face.
In the episode we were introduced to Patar, SpongeGar, and Squog, the prehistoric counterparts to SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward. These three are quite the trio, and we hadn't really seen them since Season 3. Well, that is, until the Season 5 episode, Atlantis SquarePantis. In this episode, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, oh, and Sandy, journey to Atlantis, with Plankton secretly attending as well. And the episode turns into a bit of a musical, with everyone performing a song at one point. Now, if we pay attention during Squidward's song, we can find a few familiar characters, as SpongeGar, along with Patar and Squog, make a small little cameo. Pretty cool, huh? So this next one is a bit of a deep cut, so get ready, as what the episode references is very subtle. I didn't even realize it at first. In the episode Ghost Host, the Flying Dutchman realizes that he's lost his scary mojo. So to try and sharpen his skills, he tries to scare both SpongeBob and Squidward. It doesn't go very well, but during one of his attempts to scare SpongeBob, he transforms into this big red bug thing. And honestly, since this episode, we haven't really seen it since, but it seems that this exact transformation is referenced in the episode Ink Lemonade, as during this scene, where Squidward first enters the creepy nursery, there is a picture of this exact same big red bug that the Flying Dutchman turned into on the wall, thus making for, like I said, a really deep cut in terms of Easter eggs. Like, the Flying Dutchman transforms 50 plus times in Ghost Host, so it's interesting that they chose this one to reference in particular. Let's talk about the episode SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist Up, which is a very ambitious time travel episode that celebrates SpongeBob's history. More importantly though, this episode has a lot of Easter eggs, like almost like 15 different Easter eggs in one episode. So let me take a breather And let's get into this, guys. Here's the first one. All right, so as you guys can see, we're in SpongeBob's living room right now, all right? And there's something important here. There's two things here that are very important, and it's these two pictures. They may just seem like normal, ordinary pictures, but they're actually references to classic SpongeBob episodes. This one references the season 1 episode, Jellyfishing. The photo in the frame is a literal shot from that episode, and this other one references the season 2 episode, FrankenDoodle, which as many of you guys know is when we were first introduced to Doodle Bob. It's really cool to see that even in season 16, there's references to season 1, 2, and 3. And there's gonna be a ton more. Let's keep it moving. Here's the next Easter egg. Take a look at this. This one is very similar to the last one, and it's very nostalgic, as there's a bunch of moments from older episodes that are shown in this book right here. This is SpongeBob's scrapbook. This moment right here is SpongeBob with the inflatable pants from the episode The Sponge Who Can Fly. Here's a side-by-side, really, really good reference. And this other one is showing SpongeBob and Patrick doing their iconic performance at the Bubble Bowl. This happened in season 2's Band Geeks, and here's another side-by-side. Oh, also, listen to what Grandpat says right here.
I was gonna play the stock market and invest in goofy goobers. I know who wins the Bubble Bowl.
If you heard him correctly, he actually references the Bubble Bowl, making for another reference to an iconic episode. And this next Easter egg is very similar. It has to do with a certain location that we have not seen for a very long time. Take a look at this clip. If you're confused on what's going on here, I don't blame you, as this location hasn't appeared for like over 20 years. But this place right here is the Comedy Crab, and it's a stage show where comedians perform basically. And if you remember, it's where SpongeBob performed making fun of Sandy in this clip right here from the episode Squirrel Jokes. Roll the footage.
And what's up with that squirrel fur? I guess fleas need a home too, huh?
Squirrel fur!
Now that is a really, really cool reference. It's awesome to see a location like pop up again, especially when we haven't seen it for so long. It might not seem like a big deal, but these types of things help build the world of SpongeBob when we know that there's all of these locations within Bikini Bottom. But anyways, I'm rambling, and here's the next Easter egg. Roll the clip.
Hey, Squeaky, the bus is here!
Now, I wasn't entirely sure about this next one, but after watching one of my favorite episodes, Rock Bottom, I know for sure that this is a reference right here. As just like SpongeBob from the episode Rock Bottom, Squidina tries to catch up with the bus, but she can't because the road is pointing up, of course, and this prevents her from going up. But more importantly, she also falls and climbs the same exact way that SpongeBob did in Rock Bottom, as you can see in this side-by-side. So this was a very clear and direct reference. Pretty cool, and guess what, guys? I have another Easter egg. So let me explain a little bit here. A big plot point of this episode is that the events of multiple other SpongeBob episodes are pretty much rewritten by the Patrick Star family, which includes season 1's Help Wanted, the episode Ripped Pants, the episode Rock Bottom, as I just mentioned, and the episode Neptune Spatula. And something I found really weird and interesting here is that the second half of the rewritten version of Help Wanted pretty much turns into an abridged version of the episode Plankton. For this one, you really have to watch the whole episode, and you really need to have watched Help Wanted and the episode Plankton to get this one, so I can't explain it much more. But this section of the episode actually has a whole other reference in it, and that's SpongeBob, Sandy, and Mr. Krabs' designs, as it seems that the animators went to replicate the animation style of the original episodes. For example, take a look at Patrick in this episode and how he looked in Rock Bottom or Neptune Spatula. If you look, his eyebrows are shaped like M's, but if you look at a more recent shot of Patrick, they don't look like that. They kind of changed his design in modern SpongeBob, but they went back to his OG design for this episode. The same thing goes for Sandy. If we take a look at a modern shot of Sandy from any other episode, her design looks like this. But back in SpongeBob season 1, she looked like this. Well, during the Ripped Pants segment of SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist Up, look at Sandy. Her suit is depicted with 3 dots, just like the old school design. And this one is like really interesting, but in the original Ripped Pants episode, there's this shot where Sandy's missing her tail, and they actually referenced this in SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up. As look, even in this modern shot, they didn't draw her tail, so pretty cool. But what's also really cool are the outfits that SpongeBob and Patrick are wearing in this scene right here. You have to be like a hardcore SpongeBob fan to catch this one because it's a reference to SpongeBob season 7, but if you guys remember, in season 7, there was this episode, SpongeBob's Last Stand. And if you look at the clip I'm about to play you, you're gonna notice something familiar. Yeah, those are the same outfits we just saw in SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up. So even 10 plus seasons later, they're still referencing this, which is very, very, very cool. And I have another reference like this that's very similar that can be found in this next scene right here. It takes place during the rock bottom part of the episode. This is another obscure reference, and it's to the season 11 episode Ink Lemonade, which isn't really that old of an episode, but there's still an Easter egg here. In that episode, we were introduced to this character right here, Mildred, and she actually makes her first appearance in like 7 years since 2018 in this episode. SpongeBob has been doing this a lot lately. For example, if we look at a character like Lady Upturn, she originally was like a very passive character, but she now pops up all the time. So who knows, maybe we'll see Mildred more often as well. And this reappearance might be SpongeBob building up the SpongeBob world even more, like I was suggesting earlier. But anyways, here's another Easter egg.
Next. Next. Next.
If you're confused, some of these characters right here, this guy, we've seen them before. They're not just regular rock bottomites. If we rewind back to the season 11 episode, The Night Patty, in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick decide to do something we haven't really seen before. After a trip at Glove World, they decide to grab a bite to eat at the Krusty Krab, but it's nighttime.
Howling rings, sucker shakes, boogers, crawly fries.
Give us the works!
One great Pacific garbage patch!
Order up!
Turns out that the nighttime attracts a completely different crowd at the Krusty Krab, including some of these guys right here. And here's a side-by-side, these characters actually appeared in the episode we're already talking about, SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up. They can be seen right here in Rock Bottom, which is a fitting place for them. And yeah, it's kind of weird seeing season 11 episodes get Easter eggs now, but I mean, like, season 11's kind of old now. Like, let me check, 1 second. I'm literally gonna do a Google search, 1 second. 2019, so it's been 6 years since SpongeBob season 11. Crazy to see that we're getting Easter eggs referencing episodes from that season now. But here's another Easter egg.
All we have to do is...
I can't believe it ain't Squidina! I was just starting to remember I had a sister.
So as you guys just heard, Patrick just said, I was just starting to remember I have a sister. And if this sounds familiar, it's because Patrick has said this exact same line before. And to find it, we have to go all the way back to season 2. See, this is where I expect Easter eggs. Those seasons are old enough where I understand there being Easter eggs. But yeah, we have to go back to season 2, more specifically the episode Something Smells. As a listen, Patrick says like the exact same line in this episode.
Oh my gosh, if my sister finds out, oh wait, I don't have a sister.
It's pretty cool to hear him say the same thing like 20 plus years later, and I could ramble on about that, but we got more cool Easter eggs to cover. So here's the next one. Roll the footage.
Let's get you in bed, mister, and fix you up.
My kingly docket is incredibly full today. But I'm far too ill to complete my royal duties.
You have to be obsessed just like I am to catch that Easter egg, but if we rewind back to season 6's The Clash of Trident, we see Trident and Queen Anthreg. This is how they look, especially in that season 6 episode, remember, as if we go back to that clip I just played, look, they're shown right here and are pictured. Now this one requires some elite ball knowledge for sure, alright? But if you watch the Patrick Star Show, a running joke from the episode Pearl Wants to Be a Star is that Patrick's grandfather, Grandpat, and Mr. Krabs have a rivalry. For example, take a look at this clip from Pearl Wants to Be a Star.
About time! time you showed up, Crabs. You know why the Navy is always late? They gotta wait for the tides to wash them ashore.
Well, during SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist-up, we get this scene where it's literally brought up and referenced, which is really cool because this shows continuity. Roll the footage.
I hope it's not a problem working for your old frenemy.
I'm not working for you, Crabs. I'm working near you.
This is one of the biggest things I've seen in season 16 is the SpongeBob team is doing a bunch of like little things to add more continuity to the spin-offs like Camp Coral, the Patrick Star Show, the movies, etc. But yeah, here's another one. Roll the footage.
Formula acquired.
Oh, hail! The Grand Patty!
Did you guys catch it? Well, Karen's analyzer, this thing right here, is the exact same one from the episode Plankton, the season 1 episode Plankton. I love this type of attention to detail, and I mean, look at this side by side, they're nearly identical. Also, we don't need to play a clip for this, but something I want to point out, if you ever watch this episode, is if you pay attention to Karen's personality, it's a lot more in line with her earliest appearances. They've evolved her character over the years, but this episode is definitely paying a homage to the original Karen from season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And okay, there's one more for this episode, and then we can finally move over to like another episode. Can you believe they put this many Easter eggs in one episode? Considering the plot of this episode, I guess it makes sense. But anyways, I need to explain. My phone went off, but I'm gonna keep it in the video still, because I'm real. I'm not like one of those crappy AI SpongeBob channels. But yeah, I need to explain this one. But basically, a while back, there was an event called the Tidal Zone, okay? And basically, there were 3 episodes from SpongeBob season 13 where the Patrick Star Show and the SpongeBob regular cartoon had a crossover. More specifically, Grandpat, who would go through this wormhole right here to different times.
Sweet Neptune, have I found the beginning of the universe?
Now, if you pay attention during this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up, I feel like I've said that 1,000 times already, but in this episode, whenever the Star family travels through time, that exact same wormhole animation is reused. And I think this is how it's going to be forever now. I think whenever there's a time travel storyline in SpongeBob, they're always going to use this exact wormhole animation. But anyways, that one was kind of boring. Hopefully it was so boring that you're sleeping right now. You should be sleeping by now. But let's head over to another episode, guys, and I've saved some of the crazier Easter eggs for later on. That way, if you're still up, I still keep you guys entertained, all right? Now, these were awesome, but they've got nothing on the Easter eggs in Squiddy Box.
Oh, not bad. A jungle safari could be fun.
When Squidward imagines himself in a safari outfit, this is actually a reference as he wears the same safari outfit that he wore in Yellow Pavement. Well, the hat's the same, so this one might be a reach. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's kind of similar. Next up is the episode Gorilla Suit Day, another one from season 16. I've been covering tons of new episodes in this video, just saying, so please subscribe. But if you're a true SpongeBob fan, the episode name Gorilla Suit Day should already kind of give you an idea of one of the Easter eggs here. But like I said, you gotta be a hardcore SpongeBob fan. But we'll get there. So the premise itself of this episode is really fun. On the annual Gorilla Suit Day, SpongeBob dons a full-body gorilla costume, and with Patrick's help, plans to prank the whole town. Right from SpongeBob's morning routine, the episode starts referencing classic SpongeBob moments. For one, when SpongeBob wakes up, he excitedly checks a giant calendar on his bedroom wall. And this itself is a reference, as if we rewind back to the season 1 episode Boating School, take a look at this scene.
This is it, Gary. The big boating exam is today. I've never felt so capable!
Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, those are the 2 exact same calendars. So a cool Easter egg there again, but let's keep it moving. SpongeBob then enthusiastically swings on a vine and launches himself into the calendar to mark the date, which is also another direct homage to Boating School, as you guys just saw. The only difference this time, and I'm showing it side by side and looping them, is that he's imitating Tarzan instead of using his bed as a catapult. And here's another fun fact for you guys about this episode. As you heard, SpongeBob did like a Tarzan-like roar just now. And funnily enough, the sound clip that was used for this is actually a recycled clip, as listen to this scene from the episode Who Are Zoo. Yeah, the animators or the editors were feeling kind of lazy and they used the exact same sound effect and recycled it in this episode. Also, the whole gorilla suit thing seems to be somewhat of a reference to the episode I Had an Accident, as at the end of that episode, Patrick dresses up in a gorilla outfit. We're not done with this one yet though. As SpongeBob struts around in his gorilla outfit, eagle-eyed viewers might notice a familiar design. The gorilla suit he wears looks identical to the one he briefly tried on in the season 6 episode Boating Buddy. Except in this episode, the fur is gray rather than brown. In my opinion, guys, I think that this one's a reach, but if you were to go on like the SpongeBob Reddit, I've seen people debating if this is an Easter egg, so don't blame me, I'm just presenting it to you. Later, when SpongeBob tears apart the house in a panic because he gets stuck in the suit and starts being mistaken for a real gorilla, he starts searching for his trusty spatula. And listen closely as he calls it something specific.
Spatty? Spatty!
As you heard, SpongeBob referred to his spatula calling it Spatty. And if we listen to how SpongeBob refers to his spatula in an older episode, Spatula of the Heavens, listen, he calls it the same thing.
My spatula's broken, Mr. Krabs. I can't make Krabby Patties without Spatty.
This episode also adds to a running gag about Mr. Krabs and deep fryers. Unfortunately for our favorite crab over here, there have been numerous instances in older episodes where Mr. Krabs has just straight up gotten deep fried. For example, take a look at this clip from the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob.
Mr. Krabs, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Ouch, that definitely hurt. And it happened again in the episode Mermaid Pants. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling pretty hungry now, but that's not what we're here for, as this gag of Mr. Krabs getting deep fried was actually referenced in Gorilla Suit Day. As take a look at this scene.
You can't fry me. I'm not even better. I hate Gorilla Suit Day.
Hey, at least it happens off camera this time, but that sounded like it really hurt. Turns out though that Mr. Krabs isn't the only person to get hurt in this episode. For one more final meta gag or reference, Squidward ends up getting physically squashed by a rampaging real gorilla that appears, which is a callback to the episode I mentioned earlier, I Had an Accident, where something very similar happens. By the end of the episode, the town is in chaos, but fans are treated to a treasure trove of references. From SpongeBob's calendar shenanigans to Mr. Krabs getting deep fried, this episode's a good one with lots of Easter eggs. I recommend it. In the episode Squeaky Boots, Mr. Krabs begins to freak out when he can't escape the sound of, well, squeaking. This drives our favorite crab crazy and gives us this scene where Mr. Krabs turns blue and begins to hear and see the word squeak everywhere. He has a total meltdown.
Could the world's greatest fry cook do this? And this, 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 and this.
Well, this scene seems to be directly referenced in the episode Plankton Paranoia, with this scene. Instead of Mr. Krabs freaking out about hearing or seeing the word squeaks, he's tripping out over plankton. Let's head over to Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. And as you guys can guess, and as you guys probably already know, this one's all about Sandy Cheeks. It's really cool because it serves as an introduction to her entire family. And Sandy has a big family. There's a bunch of Easter eggs, I'm showing them all on screen now that we're gonna get into, but here's a quick little plot summary so they all make sense. But basically, this giant claw literally steals Bikini Bottom, so SpongeBob and Sandy head to Texas to save everyone. On a side note, this evil robotic villain right here, named Sue, plans to clone the citizens and sell them as toys. She basically wants to take all of Bikini Bottom and just turn them into a toy line. SpongeBob gets cloned into tiny versions of himself, but with the help of Sandy's circus family, the clones, and 2 scientists, Sandy defeats Sue and launches Bikini Bottom back into the ocean. It's a good movie. movie, I'd watch it, and with that sorted, let's get into the Easter eggs. To kick things off, let's talk about our favorite dude, Fred. As you guys know, Fred is an iconic SpongeBob character who often always gets his leg hurt.
My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg!
You probably know him as the dude who always says, "my leg." And that's exactly what he does in the Sandy Cheeks movie, like 3 times, making for 3 Easter eggs. For one, he says it when his legs are damaged by the Krusty Krab sign.
My leg!
He also says it when he gets trampled by all of these people running for the free genetic modification paste.
Hey, everybody! It's raining phase 1s! My leg again!
And his leg gets injured again during the circus performance. That one was pretty light, but this next Easter egg is even cooler. Who remembers the episode Wormy? Well, in that episode, we got this iconic and very funny stoplight gag, where the Bikini Bottomites are panicking, running around, but that doesn't stop them from stopping at a stoplight. This exact gag is referenced in the Sandy Cheeks movie during the opening when Bikini Bottom is first abducted. Here's another really cool one. If we rewind back to the episode Karate Island, SpongeBob travels off to this island and ends up getting captured by these like karate masters. Sandy warned him not to go, but he didn't listen and he went anyways. And because of this, Sandy has to step in and save the day. It's a really cool plot where it's very similar to like Kill Bill, and she even dresses like Kill Bill and has to go through like 4 floors fighting 4 different karate masters to save SpongeBob. Really good episode. As I said, she dresses like Kill Bill, as we can see right here. And in a similar scene in the Sandy Cheeks movie, she has to fight rattlesnakes, and look, she ends up dressing in the exact same outfit. Here's a side-by-side, and it's very clearly a reference. And I love it, but I love this next Easter egg even more. But for it to make sense, we have to rewind yet again and go back to the episode Band Geeks. And I mean, you gotta know this episode, right? If you're a real SpongeBob fan, you know the episode Band Geeks. If not, you're a phony. If you haven't though, don't worry. What really matters is that you've seen this scene right here.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
As you just heard, Patrick asks if mayonnaise is an instrument. No, it isn't, but that line is referenced in the Sandy Cheeks movie, with Patrick saying the following line.
Get to work, you lazy octopus!
Mayonnaise a what?
This next one is really interesting. Who here has played the game Battle for Bikini Bottom? As a kid, I loved this game, and I think it's honestly one of the best SpongeBob games released. However, Titans of the Tide, the new one that just came out, is also really, really good. Maybe I'll do a video on like SpongeBob video game Easter eggs. Let me know in the comments if you guys would watch that. But yeah, you need to have played Battle for Bikini Bottom for this Easter egg to really make sense. But during Sandy's battle with Sue, if you look, it's very similar to when she fights her robot self in Bikini Bottom. You kind of have to see it for yourself to really make sense, and I can't play the entire scene with Sue, so here's a side-by-side and you guys just take my word for it, okay? This next one is more of a fun fact, but at the start of the Sandy Cheeks movie, we get to see a version of the SpongeBob opening where it's Sandy instead, and it turns out this isn't actually the first time that this has happened. If we go back to the episode Truth or Square, we can see what would happen if Mr. Krabs led the theme song.
Who lives in an anchor under the sea? Hey!
And we can also see what would happen if Patrick led the theme song.
Who lives like a barnacle under the sea?
Oh, and we can also see what would happen if Squidward led the theme song. Let's take a look at this as well.
Who lives in a monument under the sea?
And last but not least, there is a scene, alright, in the Sandy Cheeks movie where SpongeBob is getting cloned. And a lot of people think that this references this scene from Sleepy Time, where we see him multiply multiple times in Patrick's dream.
I can make 1,000,000 of these! Huh?
Yep.
Next up, we're going to talk about the episode Slumber Party Stars. And here's the thing, this is actually like technically a The Patrick Star Show episode, but the reference is to OG SpongeBob, and it's really, really cool. For it to make sense though, we have to go back in time a little bit, guys, and go back to the episode Sailor Mouth. Can you believe that this episode is like 20 plus years old? It's from season 2. And in this episode, we see SpongeBob and Patrick play a very specific game, Eels and Escalators.
Hooray! Escalators!
Now, this game has popped up multiple times in other episodes over the years, but even in season 16, it's still popping up. As look, in Slumber Party Stars, the die that Cecil holds up is the exact same one from Eels and Escalators. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, what a cool Easter egg, right? These ones are awesome. Another cool reference in this episode is what Patrick is seen wearing during the scavenger hunt scene. Some of you guys may be too young to catch this reference, but Patrick is actually wearing Elmer Fudd's hat. He was a character from the Looney Tunes, and here's a side-by-side, and yeah, it's like pretty much the exact same hat. But let's head over to another episode. Our next episode is called The String. And before we get into the Easter eggs, let's do a little plot summary. This episode begins with SpongeBob cooking Krabby Patties until he sees a loose thread on Squidward's shirt. SpongeBob decides to pull the string and ends up pulling it for so long that it leaves Squidward naked.
Order a rusty cap?
I like string.
Congratulations.
And this is where the episode pretty much goes from here. SpongeBob continues unraveling things until every Bikini Bottomite is pretty much annoyed, especially Squidward, who always ends up having his clothes unraveled by the string. This all goes on until the end of the episode, where Patrick eventually uses the string as dental floss, thus ending the episode. But just as the episode ends, there's a huge Easter egg. If we go back to the first SpongeBob SquarePants movie, there's this fisherman right here. And we haven't seen him since that movie, but at the very end of the string, he makes his first reappearance in a long time. Mr. Krabs has quite the misadventure in the episode My Two Krabses from season 12. It all starts with Mr. Krabs sneaking in a tanning session without his shell in his office before a date with Mrs. Puff. It's crazy to think that these two have been like on and off dating since like season 2 or 3, but anyways, eventually SpongeBob walks in to deliver some ice cream, but instead of finding Mr. Krabs, he only finds this.
Mr. Krabs! Are you okay? Speak to me.
We're gonna get into the Easter eggs, don't worry, but you guys need the context of the plot for them to make sense. But from here, SpongeBob literally assumes that Mr. Krabs has melted.
Oh, look at that! And right before his big date tonight. What a shame.
A date? Oh, must love die meltily in my arms too?
In a panic, SpongeBob and Patrick take the empty shell, determined to basically bring Mr. Krabs back to life, Frankenstein style. Meanwhile, the real and shellless Krabs realizes his shell is missing and rushes home to find something or anything to wear, really. And this is where we can find a really cool Easter egg. As he flings open his bedroom closet, and in this frantic scene, the show sneaks in a treasure from Mr. Krabs' past. I'm gonna play the clip and let's see if you guys can spot the Easter egg.
Okay, I knew they'd fairies in here somewhere. Aha!
Let me explain. So among the tossed outfits is this bright pink flower print cuddly crab uniform. And this is specifically from the episode Bossy Boots, a season 2 episode. Longtime fans will recall that in this episode, Mr. Krabs briefly transformed the Krusty Krab into the cutesy cuddly crab. Well, actually it was more that Pearl did this. Mr. Krabs was kind of just forced to do it. And as you can see in this clip I'm about to play, they had to wear these exact same outfits.
Only a fool would wear that.
Avast, ye shipmates! Don't these just shiver your timbers?
Seeing this ridiculous attire resurface here, only to be deemed unwearable by Mr. Krabs, is a delightful Easter egg. It confirms that Mr. Krabs hung on to the old uniform, and it adds a layer of irony to his wardrobe scramble. But the closet gag doesn't stop there. Mr. Krabs also tosses out a chicken costume, the same one that SpongeBob once wore in the episode Cephalopod Lodge. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, I think that that's a reference. And we've got more. Let's head over to another episode. Let's talk about the Patrick Patrick Star Show, specifically the episode Bummer Jobs. In this one, the Patrick Star Show delivers a flurry of SpongeBob callbacks. Just to give you guys some context of what this episode is about though, it's pretty much about Patrick and SpongeBob looking to get a job. Patrick wants to find his purpose in life, and this turns into him looking for a job. We see their struggle of going through different types of day jobs. For example, they work as grocery baggers at a grocery store and unfortunately get fired. From here, they look for another job. As they pick themselves up, still enthusiastic, they see an old lady struggling to paint her fence. Now, if we rewind back to the episode Idiot Box, there's this scene, and it's a very iconic one where SpongeBob uses his hands to draw a rainbow and says the word imagination. Well, this is referenced like 20 plus years later in Bummer Jobs, as when SpongeBob and Patrick go to help that old lady, he does a very similar gesture. I love this so much. You guys know I'm like a massive nerd when it comes to the Steven Hillenburg era. I always ramble on about it in these videos, so any reference to, you know, a season 1, 2, or 3 episode, especially Idiot Box, is gonna warm my heart. And we've got more. Who remembers the episode Sailor Mouth? We've talked about this one many times before, but in this episode, Patrick and SpongeBob learn to swear, and they're taught not to. But the main thing here, as you guys know already, is whenever SpongeBob characters swear in SpongeBob, they make this sound effect.
There are 13 bad words you should never use.
Don't you mean there are only 7?
Not if you're a sailor.
Wow, 13.
That's a lot of bad words.
Well, at one point in Bummer Jobs, listen to what the porpoise says, as it sounds very similar to bad word number 11.
Let me go, you little...
Hey, watch your language!
Did you hear that? It happens closer to the ending of the episode, and that is 100% a reference to Sailor Mouth. So that's 2 classic episodes referenced in one The Patrick Star Show episode. People like to talk smack about The Patrick Star Show, but this is really good. Like, this is a good sign that the writers actually are passionate and know what they're talking about. But yeah, I've got one more Easter egg from this episode, and it happens in this next scene. In a hilarious segment, Squidina rolls out a TV and says it's time for some noir sense.
While they take a break, let's all watch another hard-boiled episode of Noir Sense.
Suddenly, we're now in a black and white detective parody where Fred the Fish is being interrogated. And if you listen to what he says, it's a very clear reference to, I mean, his entire character. This is the whole point of Fred the Fish at this point in the show, is to scream the following. This is a brilliant send-up of the running gag, my leg, usually heard whenever Fred gets hurt in classic episodes. For example, here's like a couple of times in older episodes where we hear him say it. Here's a little compilation, a little montage.
My leg! My leg!
Thank you!
My leg! My leg!
It is crazy how many things they hide in these SpongeBob episodes, how many references there are to older episodes, and I love it. Our next episode is Call the Cops from season 11. This episode flips the script by putting SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs on the other side of the law. Plankton actually gets himself arrested after yet another failed formula theft, and the secret formula is locked up at the Bikini Bottom police station as evidence. To retrieve it, Mr. Krabs convinces SpongeBob to go undercover as police officers and infiltrate the station, a recipe for hilarious antics.
Have you got a license to sell these cookies?
Officer SquarePants, I don't think we ought to...
Let me handle this, Officer Mr. Krabs.
I don't have a license.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
As soon as they step into the station lobby, the background art delivers clever gags. For one, there's a framed photo of a donut on the wall, poking fun at the classic trope that cops love donuts, but right beside that is a wanted poster bearing a very familiar face, that of the Tattletale Strangler. I love references like this. Fans will remember this villain from SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, a legendary, iconic episode, and apparently the Bikini Bottom PD is still on the lookout for him. The fact that his wanted poster appears here is a continuity nod, as if the events of that episode have been filed in police records. And the station's back room holds another Easter egg for the observant. Pinned up on the wall is a wanted poster for another iconic SpongeBob villain. Roll the clip and I'll let you guys catch it.
You can interrogate the suspect.
I don't know how to interrogate.
Then just ask questions.
Come on, you guys gotta know this one. That's Dennis, the fearsome hitman from the original 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Name's Dennis.
I've been hired to exterminate you.
Dennis's rugged mug is instantly recognizable, connecting the series to the first movie storyline even more. These background posters subtly expand the world building, implying that all of these notorious baddies share the same criminal universe. Really cool stuff. This next episode finally brought Gary the Snail to Camp Coral, and with him comes a barrel of references spanning the SpongeBob universe. In our next episode, Camper Gary, SpongeBob discovers his pet snail has stowed away at camp. Rather than send Gary home, SpongeBob disguises him as a new camper to keep him hidden from the staff, particularly from Mrs. Puff, who turns out to hate snails. Which is kind of weird because she literally has a snail in the episode The Sponge Who Can Fly, like SpongeBob helps save her snail. So this is a little bit of a continuity error, but anyways, the premise of this episode alone parallels a classic SpongeBob plot. It's essentially the summer camp equivalent of My Pretty Seahorse, where SpongeBob hid his pet seahorse mystery at the Krusty Krab.
SpongeBob, thanks for finally getting rid of that horse.
You're welcome, Mr. Krabs. It worked, girl. I'll just keep you back here until Patrick finishes that stable I asked him to build.
Years later, in Camper Gary, we see SpongeBob do something very similar to that scene from My Pretty Seahorse. As a matter of fact, the entire plot of this episode is very similar, which a lot of people think is a reference. Here's another Easter egg though. Of course, Gary eventually runs loose, and Mrs. Puff goes into full monster hunter mode, chasing the beast snail haunting the camp. She doesn't even realize that it's Gary and actually thinks that there's a real threat here. But in a very funny twist, during the chaos, Mrs. Puff offhandedly mentions the following line, and if you listen closely, this is a reference.
Mom always said I'd go out like this. Oh well, better than being dragged back to prison.
As you heard right there, Mrs. Puff refers to being dragged back to prison. And this is a reference to the fact that Mrs. Puff has gone to prison many times in original SpongeBob. For example, in No Free Ride, she goes to jail. So it's very in character that even years before original SpongeBob in the prequel show, she had already been to jail. It seems to be a running theme in her life. There are some more Easter eggs in this episode, and I'm gonna rapid fire them. They're really cool. For one, if you look closely in SpongeBob's bunk, there's this poster right here of Mermaid Man on the wall. We also see a jar of mayonnaise amongst SpongeBob and Patrick's belongings, perhaps a wink at the famous "is mayonnaise an instrument" joke, since what camper packs mayo for a trip? Only Patrick would do that, I mean, come on. And if you look closely right here, we can find canned bread again. We've talked about this in a previous Easter egg video, and if you guys remember back in the episode Squidville, okay, where Squidward moves to go and live in like a town where it's all people exactly like him, he finds one of his favorite things that he's always been looking for.
Canned bread! This town is great!
So yeah, this is a really cool Easter egg and shows that whoever wrote this episode knows their lore. This is like a deep cut of a reference, canned bread, really cool. Let's keep it moving though. It turns out that Patrick Star sometimes needs a break, or so he decides in the episode Patrick's Staycation. Feeling overworked from his grueling routine of sleeping and snacking every day, probably just chilling at home in his rock playing Fortnite. This guy has no life. I love Patrick, but seriously, I've watched almost every episode of the show, and Patrick is one of the laziest characters ever. But yeah, despite being the laziest character ever, Patrick longs for a vacation, but he can't afford one. Going on vacation's really expensive. You gotta pay for your flight, you gotta book a hotel, it's pricey. So enter SpongeBob, ever the problem solver, who comes up with the idea to give Patrick a luxury staycation right at home. As I always say, don't worry, I'm gonna get to the Easter eggs soon, I just gotta explain all this, that way they make sense. Now eventually, we get a scene where Patrick plans his fake vacation, and it takes place at the Bikini Bottom travel agency, and it hides a fun visual reference.
So, you'd like a vacation?
Oh, great! Another thing for me to do.
Yes, he'd like a vacation.
It all depends on your budget.
On the travel agent's wall, SpongeBob and Patrick admire a framed photo of a fancy cruise ship. But this isn't just any old cruise, it actually foreshadows the very cruise ship that'll appear in this episode's sequel episode, Walking the Plankton. That's the same ship. Walking the Plankton's like the next episode after Patrick's Staycation, so this is an interesting Easter egg. It's not what we would normally cover, but it's interesting. In Walking the Plankton, Plankton lures Mr. Krabs onto a luxury ocean liner as part of a scheme. So the travel agent agency's Glamorous Cruise poster is effectively an Easter egg planting the idea. It's a clever bit of continuity between the back-to-back episodes, and is something that SpongeBob's never really done before. There isn't usually continuity between episodes like this, so yeah, it's interesting. Next up is the episode In Search of Camp Nudist. In this episode, SpongeBob and friends hear a rumor of a secret nudist camp in the woods. Yes, you read that right. So the group set off on a curious quest to find it. SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy tromp through the forest in search of the fabled Camp Nudist, while camp counselors Mr. Krabs and Squidward chase after them in a panic. I mean, they definitely don't want a bunch of kids stumbling onto naked campers, right? As the hike wears on, Squidward grows exhausted, and this is where we could find an Easter egg. In a dramatized moment, Squidward collapses and wheezes for Camp Master Krabs to go on without him, and what follows is a cheeky nod to SpongeBob's own theme song. Mr. Krabs shrugs and immediately marches ahead while whistling this. Roll the clip.
You'll have to go on without me.
Okay.
What? Wait, hey, don't leave me alone out here!
It's a blink and you'll miss it Easter egg that longtime viewers instantly recognize, as Mr. Krabs just sang the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song, or at least a very similar version of it. I'm gonna keep these clips short just because I don't want to get destroyed by copyright, but here's like 2 seconds of the SpongeBob theme.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
And if you listen here, Mr. Krabs plays pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna play it again. Here's like 2 seconds of that. Really cool, but let's head over to another episode. Just a little reminder that if you're still awake, you should be sleeping. And if you're still awake, you might as well grab your phone and subscribe to us. Please do it. I'm trying to hit 10K and we're really close. So if you enjoy my videos, I'd really appreciate it. At least I'm not like all those other crappy AI SpongeBob channels. I'm a real person. I'm gonna be doing my face reveal soon. This is my actual voice. Blah, 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 blah. There's no AI. All right, go and make AI do that, but I'll do it on camera soon to prove it. But make sure to subscribe, guys. I love you. And back to the video with some more Easter eggs. So the continuity of SpongeBob's universe definitely gets like messed up a little bit in this next episode, Kitchen Sponge. Or maybe it was fixed, depends on who you ask. In this Camp Coral episode, young SpongeBob volunteers to help Plankton, who runs the camp's mess hall. And the goal is for him to help Plankton improve his menu. Disaster strikes in a scene that is very similar to the show's very first episode, Help Wanted. Plankton's kitchen is overrun by a ravenous swarm of fish campers. A chaos that directly references the anchovy feeding frenzy from Help Wanted, the 1999 plot where the Krusty Krab was pretty much attacked by hungry anchovies. Here in Camp Coral, it's a fun reversal. Plankton experiences the same sardine-style stampede that Mr. Krabs once did, a really cool nod to SpongeBob's origin episode. Later, Plankton decides quantity is the answer and concocts an army of Krabby Patty creatures to serve everyone. And this is another reference, as these living patties are nearly identical to the patty monsters from another SpongeBob episode, Dream Hoppers. Here's a side-by-side, and it's not exact, but it's pretty close, and I think this is a reference. In fact, the concept of sentient Krabby Patties causing mischief first appeared in Dream Hoppers, and Kitchen Sponge brings it back, showing Plankton unleashing a legion of googly-eyed burgers. Now I'm hungry. All of this, though, is light compared to this episode's ending, which has a very big moment for SpongeBob continuity. One big debate at this time was how Sandy could have been a part of Camp Coral, right, which is a prequel series to SpongeBob, when there's an entire episode in season 1 of original SpongeBob showing how Sandy and SpongeBob met. And in that episode, it's very clear they've never met before.
So, what's your name?
Sandy?
Well, in the climax of Kitchen Sponge, when SpongeBob inadvertently invents the Krabby Patty's secret formula and nearly changes history, Sandy steps in by literally calling her future self. In a sci-fi twist, adult Sandy appears via video to her younger self, congratulating her on a successful plan to keep the formula out of Plankton's hands.
Affirmative, little cheeks. This is Big Cheeks, receiving you from the future. The formula burned out before Mr. Plankton could nab it. Now it can be safely rediscovered in the future. I knew sending you to Camp Coral was the right thing to do.
Okay, so this is important. That clip right here implies that Camp Coral exists in an alternate timeline, where Camp Coral is still canon and is still a prequel, but because it's in an alternate timeline, it explains how SpongeBob meets adult Sandy in the original SpongeBob show, but also already knew her back in Camp Coral. This is a very complicated one. I hope you guys got it, but yeah, it's really cool. By having future Sandy orchestrate the events, the show winks at viewers and suggests the following. The original series and Camp Coral now diverge into separate universes. It's pretty cool, but as you guys know, let's head over to another episode. Our next episode is the Donut of Shame, a very short episode from season 5. This bite-sized episode opens with Patrick groggily waking up on SpongeBob's ceiling after what appears to have been a wild night of partying. Who knew that Patrick got so crazy, man? Like, dude was probably staying up all night eating ice cream.
Would you like another spot of tea, Ms. Nibsy? Oh, you would?
From here, Patrick notices SpongeBob still asleep, clutching a delicious-looking donut. A beautiful specimen of donuthood, as Patrick pretty much calls it. Ever impulsive, Patrick liberates the pastry from SpongeBob's hand and sneaks it home for himself. And this is where we can find some Easter eggs, or well, some references. The animators slip in a sweet nod to the show's early days. I'm gonna roll the clip and let's see if you guys can spot it.
A beautiful specimen of donuthood. A donut this nice deserves to be served on fine china.
If you didn't catch it, let me explain. Hanging on Patrick's wall is a framed picture of SpongeBob drawn in his season 1 art style. This is very important here. It's not a modern looking version of SpongeBob. At the time, this episode was from season 5, and he doesn't even look like his season 5 design. It's very clearly his season 1 design. This deliberate background detail contrasts with the episode's season 5 visuals, playfully reminding longtime fans of SpongeBob's classic look. Now, aside from that nostalgic little Easter egg, the Donut of Shame peppers in a couple of other fun touches. For example, the way Patrick awakens in this scene is a spoof of horror film tropes, mirroring a similar scene from Saw of all things. Here is a side-by-side, and what an interesting choice for a children's cartoon. But yeah, some cool little references in this episode and some facts, but let's keep it moving and head over to a different episode.